Chapter 1762, Cyan Dragon Totem. In the crowd amongst the battle stage, Yuan Ho was the one who looked the angriest. He was in charge of Ji Chang's club's star group. When the star group was humiliated, Yuan Ho was the most humiliated, so of course he wasn't happy. Puyang and Leng Xia were 5th and 6th ranked, but they were also 2nd and 3rd generals of the star group. Apart from Ji Wuyo, they were the 2 strongest cultivators of the star group. However, Ji Wuyo was a member of the star group because he was related to Ji Chang. Lin Feng jumped on Puyang again. Puyang's face was completely deformed, and bleeding pieces of flesh hung from his face. It looked horrible. He could have never thought he'd look so pitiful someday. The crowd was like him. They had never thought something like that would ever happen to him. Lin Feng was extremely cruel. When Yang Chugu saw that, he was furious and shook with rage. Lin Feng was too strong, even he probably couldn't defeat the new student. Hee, those people won't get the Flood Dragon in the end. I really need him to join the Yun Club. Yun Qingyan smiled. Her beautiful eyes were twinkling. Scram now. Lin Feng kicked Puyang violently. Lin Feng hated such people. The kick propelled the unconscious Puyang off of the battle stage. This battle is over, it seems, the crowd considered. Puyang had lost, Leng Xia had lost, Yuan Jing was the last one on stage. She didn't need to continue fighting. Lin Feng and Tianqi walked towards Ho Qing Lin and surrounded Yuan Jing. Even though they didn't release their qi, Yuan Jing was terrified. After all, how could she fight alone against 3 monstrous cultivators? But the problem was that she couldn't surrender yet, as Lin Feng and Tianqi hadn't gotten involved. Besides, how could she surrender? Ho Qing Lin was feeling fine. His Azura reincarnation assassination attack was getting more and more intense. Yuan Jing sensed the danger. Enough, a loud voice said at that moment. The crowd frowned. The person who had spoken up was Ji Wuyo. He had chosen to get involved. Ji Wuyo was abnormally strong. Many people said that with his strength, he could easily defeat ordinary medium-level emperors. He had the potential to become a champion and was extremely proud. Some people also said that even if the few people after him in the ranking list joined hands to fight against him, they wouldn't be able to defeat him. They didn't want to test that theory out, however. Lin Feng and Tianqi turned towards Ji Wuyo. He was very arrogant, as if nobody could go against his will. It was the first time that Lin Feng had seen Ji Wuyo, so he didn't recognize him. Even though he didn't know him, he could sense that he was extremely strong. With some people, you couldn't see if they were strong, and with some others, it was obvious. Ji Wuyo belonged to the 2nd category. Another member of Ji Chang's club, thought Lin Feng. Ji Wuyo was standing next to Yuan Ho. However, Lin Feng ignored Ji Wuyo's words entirely. Tianqi put his palms together, calm and serene, also ignoring Ji Wuyo. Regarding Ho Qing Lin, he ignored him as well. He was fighting. How could he let exterior things influence him? The crowd around the battle stage suddenly quieted down and stopped talking because of Ji Wuyo. He had made the crowd stop talking or moving, but not the fighters. The fighters just ignored him. I told you to stop fighting, shouted Ji Wuyo furiously. He then jumped forwards and moved like the wind. We're on the champion battle stage of Champion University. Do you think you can interrupt battles as you wish? Shouted Tianqi unhappily. People from Ji Chang's club acted as if the university belonged to them, and people had to obey them. Each time someone offended them, they sent cultivators to deal with them, and the cultivators were always stronger and stronger. I told you to stop, so you have to stop, declared Ji Wuyo, running towards the battle stage. He looked insane and arrogant. He was insane, but he was also extremely strong and talented. He had the potential to become a peerless cultivator in life. His brother was an incredible cultivator and had amazed the entire city. Only the champion Ing Cheng, from the Celestial Godly University, could compete with him. Ing Cheng was also the only person Ji Chang considered worth worrying about. Ji Chang's brother was younger than him, but he was also incredible. He had amazed Champion University, so new students couldn't really go against him. If he told them to stop, they had to. Lin Feng looked at Ho Qing Lin and Yuan Jing, totally furious. Suddenly he punched the atmosphere, a purple tank streaked across the sky and moved towards Yu Wenjing at full speed. "Bastard!" shouted Ji Wuyo at the top of his voice. He accelerated as a light beam appeared. Within the light was a dragon. It looked like a totem. Cyan Dragon Totem. Thanks to their spirit and talent, the Ji clan can use the strength of the Cyan Dragon. Some of them can also turn into dragons. They're incredibly strong. The crowd looked at Ji Wuyo's Cyan Dragon Totem. It was a talent they inherited in the Ji clan. Ji Chang was even more terrifying. At that moment, 9 dragon totems had appeared in the lights. Everybody said his ability exceeded king-type bodies. His Cyan Dragon Totems were that explosive. Ji Chang could almost sweep away all other emperors. Ji Wuyo jumped, the air shook. He looked like a ferocious beast with infinite strength. "He's very strong," thought Lin Feng. The Cyan Dragon Totem gave Lin Feng a similar feeling to when he saw the Frost Dragon at the 12 Shrines, as if the dragon contained endless strength. Tian Qi frowned. He could also sense the terrifying energy coming in. He jumped forwards and a golden Buddha appeared behind him. 36 hands undulated on each side and turned into destructive golden energy rising to the skies. Arg! Ji Wuyo was furious. A Cyan dragon emerged from his mouth. The air around him shook violently. The dragon looked terrifying and could make the earth and sky shake. He spat out a dragon. The crowd was absolutely stunned. Some people who had never seen him fight were dumbstruck. He was so powerful. How exciting! It made them think that his brother Ji Chang was probably even more terrifying. No wonder everybody thought that Ji Chang and Ying Cheng were the strongest young people of the Holy City. Ji Chang had the potential to become the next champion. It was only a matter of time, although it might take years. Boom boom boom. The gigantic golden hand broke apart and turned into an infinity of golden pieces moving in every direction. The dragon was still there, however. It continued charging at Tian Qi, jaws spread wide. The gigantic Buddha's hand descended from the sky at full speed, emitting a sonic boom and then colliding with the Cyan Dragon. Ji Wuyo continued running towards Tian Qi at full speed, smiling coldly as he said, "Such a crappy guy, the worms will soon eat your corpse? You dared not listen to me? You want to bring about your own destruction." Ji Wuyo waved his hands, and the 9 other dragons roared furiously, charging towards Tian Qi. Tian Qi condensed another golden Buddha and dozens of Buddha hands sent out attacks. However, the dragons were too hard. They almost seemed indestructible. A sword light cut the sky. Tian Qi's Buddha turned into a sharp sword. Suddenly, the Cyan Dragon started cracking, blood splashed in the air, and it started raining blood as if they had been real dragons. The Cyan Dragon attack was that terrifying. "Piss off!" Ji Wuyo punched in the direction of Tian Qi's face. It didn't look like a punch, but like another raging dragon. Rumbling sounds spread in the air, the golden lights which surrounded Tian Qi broke apart, he was propelled away and blood splashed in the air. Ji Wuyo's physical strength was terrifying. He was as strong as a dragon. Lin Feng didn't help, he just watched them battle. That was Tian Qi's fight, and if he lost, it didn't matter. It was just an experience. Chapter 1763, Battling and Rising. "You worms think you can stop me?" Ji Wuyo bellowed furiously. He continued running as energies rolled out in every direction. Tian Qi looked at Ji Wuyo and condensed more golden lights. He had to fight until the end, no matter the result of the battle. "Let me help," Lin Feng said, jumping and landing next to Tian Qi. He smiled and said, "Brother, let me try." "Huh?" The crowd looked at Lin Feng. They had anticipated that Tian Qi couldn't win. However, Lin Feng's strength was unfathomable. He had defeated Leng Xia, but could he defeat Ji Wuyo? "Even if you join hands to fight against me, you won't win." Ji Wuyo laughed arrogantly. His Cyan Dragon Totem was behind him. He looked alive, lights were shining around him, and he released even more deadly qi. His Cyan Dragon Totem is terrifying, his physical strength is terrifying, plus his cultivation level is at the top of the low Huang Qi layer. "I think his physical strength is better than mine," Lin Feng considered. He had seen how terrifying his attacks were when he had assaulted Tian Qi a moment ago. Cosmic strength rose up to the skies and surrounded Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng condensed cosmic energies, and at the same time, his eyes looked colder and colder. His Devamara Kulpa strength surrounded him and he started charging forwards. "You overestimate yourself," hissed Ji Wuyo, also running forwards. The two fighters were streaking towards each other, getting closer and closer. The Cyan Dragon roared, the earth and the sky were shaking. Ji Wuyo raised his hand and another dragon appeared containing an explosive strength. The dragon roared, the crowd narrowed their eyes, some energies spilling over so they couldn't see clearly. Behind Lin Feng, Xin Yuan's axe appeared. It was gigantic and could cleave the sky. "Piss off!" Ji Wuyo punched in Lin Feng's direction. The Cyan Dragon totem looked ferocious and fierce behind him. Lin Feng didn't look scared. He punched out too. Xin Yuan's axe illuminated the skies. The dragon roared, everybody shivered, the earth and sky shook violently. The two fighters collided again. It was as if the crowd was watching two dragons battle. Dragon chants spread in the air, everything kept shaking and terrifying dragon chi spread in every direction, astonishing the whole crowd with the pure brutal power of it. Finally, an explosion spread in the air and both fighters were forced away. Ji Wuyo looked at Lin Feng, coldly furious. Ji Wuyo had realized that Lin Feng's physical strength might be as good as his. Lin Feng's robes started fluttering even more violently as his eyes turned pitch black. He looked fearless. He still didn't know against who he was fighting, but in any case this guy was extremely strong. With the strength of a low-level emperor, his physical strength was amazing, it was rare to see. Lin Feng didn't know who he was fighting, but the crowd certainly did. The two fighters' battle was astonishing. They had vastly underestimated Lin Feng's power, and his physical strength was terrifying too. He can compete with Ji Wuyo, even though he doesn't have the upper hand. Many people were very surprised, even Yuan Ho. Everybody had underestimated this new student. "Your physical strength is not bad. No wonder you dared disobey me," said Ji Wuyo arrogantly. In Champion University, Lin Feng was the first person who had fought against Ji Wuyo using physical strength. However, was that enough? Dazzling lights appeared around Ji Wuyo, and a dragon cauldron appeared. Above the cauldron, Cyan dragon symbols appeared, undulating and containing a terrifying and oppressive strength. The cauldron was filled with a seemingly infinite amount of energy. "I'll show you what it means to be strong," shouted Ji Wuyo furiously. He waved his hand and suddenly, the cauldron charged towards Lin Feng. It was like many dragons were attacking Lin Feng, all bearing fangs and brandishing claws. Lin Feng shook his hand and marks appeared, containing a terrifying strength. Lin Feng moved his hands as fast as lightning. After he moved his hands a dozen times, a gigantic deployment spell formed. His attack wasn't any weaker than the dragon cauldron. The intertwining marks turned into a gigantic set of kanji, break. At the same time, more destructive energies spread out in the air. Lin Feng put his hands together. A purple tank appeared again and fused together with the deployment spell, then the attack rained down. Inside the cauldron, more dragons kept roaring. The cauldron collided with the tank, the air trembled, it was like the sky was going to collapse. Explosive metallic sounds spread in the air as the cauldron shattered. Ji Wuyo was astonished. He wove his hands and more dragons came out. Lights appeared and crashed onto the tank and broke it. Deployment spell, Ji Wuyo was fixedly staring at Lin Feng. This guy also controlled deployment spells? And his deployment spells were super powerful. In such a short time, he had managed to draw such powerful marks. How scary! Lin Feng has many trump cards. He even managed to get rid of Ji Wuyo's cauldron. His deployment spells are terrifying, thought the crowd. Ji Wuyo and Lin Feng had collided a few times, but surprisingly none of them had the upper hand. On the other side, Ho Qinglin's Ahsoka reincarnation sword finally destroyed Yu Wenjing's mysterious attack. Then he released sword energies which forced Yu Wenjing to flee. Yu Wenjing pulled a long face. She had also lost the battle and her team had lost. Now Ji Wuyo was fighting, but could he win? Lin Feng suddenly turned his head and saw Yu Wenjing rushing over towards him. Once he noticed her, he ran towards her, which made her shout scarily, "Piss off!" Lin Feng condensed another purple tank which charged towards her, uncaringly brutal and violent. Yu Wenjing's expression changed, and she instantly turned around and ran away. Ho Qinglin had released sword energies. Yu Wenjing was now being attacked by two people at the same time. Her face was angry and helpless at the same time. The crowd was astonished. Lin Feng and Ho Qinglin were attacking her. How impolite! When they didn't like someone, nothing mattered anymore. Ji Wuyo was even more furious. He punched out in the direction of his enemies and ran towards Yu Wenjing to block the purple tank. Yu Wenjing could continue fighting against Ho Qinglin if she wanted to. Lin Feng groaned and moving while releasing death chi. Yu Wenjing certainly didn't feel like fighting anymore. The purple tank rained down. Yu Wenjing jumped aside extremely quickly. However, Lin Feng was faster. He arrived next to her and punched her violently. Blood splashed, and Yu Wenjing was propelled away. Ji Wuyo jumped up and caught her. They had lost. Ji Chang's club's team had lost. Lung Xia had been kicked away from the battle stage. Pu Yang had been humiliated to the extreme. Yu Wenjing had been punched out by Lin Feng and she was bleeding. Ji Wuyo had gotten involved and he hadn't managed to defeat them either. Ji Chang's club had lost really badly. If Ji Wuyo hadn't gotten involved, Yu Wenjing would have ended up in an even worse situation. Lin Feng landed in front of Ji Wuyo and Yu Wenjing. Ho Qinglin and Tian Qi landed at his sides, and they all released qi which surrounded Yu Wenjing and Ji Wuyo. Even in the ranking list, it must be difficult to find three people as strong as them, thought the crowd. Lin Feng, Tian Qi and Ho Qinglin were rising champions who had already amazed Champion University. They were stronger than the 10 best students of the university. It had been a long time since they had seen such strong people. Chapter 1764. Exchanging views. Ji Wuyo sensed the three fellow disciples' qi. His eyes glittered. He looked proud and angry at the same time. Lin Feng was really strong, and the two others weren't weak either. If they joined hands to fight against him, he'd definitely lose. He didn't even have the upper hand when fighting one-on-one against Lin Feng. And Yu Wenjing in his arms looked even more furious. She had lost. Ho Qinglin had defeated her, and then Lin Feng had punched her so hard that she had been knocked away like a rag doll. She had suffered a crushing defeat. When people on the battle stage are defeated, you get involved. It seems like university's rules don't apply here. It's the law of the jungle. You're used to doing what you wish, said Ho Qinglin coldly. The star group is like that, is it? Brother, we could create a faction too. That way, we could be as pretentious and arrogant as them. Then we could also recruit more people and bully them, laughed Lin Feng. Ho Qinglin turned to Lin Feng. What would be the name? Ho Qinglin asked him. What about Tian Tai? Asked Lin Feng with a smile. Ho Qinglin frowned. Tian Qi too. Tian Tai, they hadn't heard that name for a long time. You overestimate yourselves, Ji Wuyo hissed coldly. He then turned around and walked away with Yu Wenjing. We'll stop temporarily for today. When we fight again, I will not be merciful again. The crowd was stupefied. Ji Wuyo's two attacks were very powerful. Had he been merciful? What would have happened if he had used his full strength? Then? No wonder he was the first student. He was Ji Chang's younger brother, after all. Everybody thought that Lin Feng couldn't compete with Ji Wuyo again. Lin Feng was a new student and he had managed to have such a battle against Ji Wuyo that was pretty good already. He had already amazed the crowd. However, Jing Shou, the second student, probably was at the same level as Lin Feng. Jing Shou was in the crowd, his hands still in his sleeves, his arms crossed against his chest. He looked at the three people on stage and smiled indifferently. Those guys were strong. Ji Wuyo had been forced to retreat. If he had been able to defeat those three guys, he would have done so out of pride. But no, he was leaving. He didn't dare fight. The star group had started all that, and Ji Wuyo was so proud, he didn't want to ask his friends for help. You're keeping such a low profile now. Who ordered them to stop a moment ago? Asked someone suddenly. Tan Tai came out of the crowd and smiled at Lin Feng and the others. Lin Feng, you're extremely strong. I've been ranked for a short time and now, surprisingly, you're in the top 10. And your two friends are extremely strong too. I admire you guys. Tantai said, looking and waving at Ho Qing Lin and Tianqi. Huang Fu Long had told Tantai that these guys were Lin Feng's friends. Who was their teacher? Let's go. It's not convenient to stay here, smiled Lin Feng. They quickly left the area of the battlegrounds. Yu Wenho and the other members of the Star Group also left. They had been humiliated and suffered a crushing defeat. Let's go to the Champion Palace. Many people wanted to see the new ranking list. They weren't sure about what had happened. What had the managers done? The battle had been a bit unusual. Had the ranking list changed? Many people ran to the Champion Palace. As expected, all the fighters were on the list. Ji Wuyo was still first. Lin Feng and Ji Wuyo had only exchanged a few punches. It wasn't enough to tell who was stronger. They needed to fight again. The second was still Jing Shou. However, the third one was now Lin Feng. The crowd was shocked. Lin Feng hadn't fought against the third student, but had replaced him anyway. It meant that the university thought that Lin Feng was stronger than him, no matter what. Ho Qing Lin was now the sixth student. After all, he had defeated Pu Yang and Yu Wenjing, but because Lin Feng had gotten involved, he wasn't the fifth, but the sixth. Yu Wenjing was seventh. She had lost against Ho Qing Lin, but won against Tianqi. Tianqi was eighth. Pu Yang and Leng Xia were after Tianqi from fifth and sixth. They were downgraded to ninth and 10th. The former third and fourths must be unhappy. Ho Qing Lin has never fought against them. If he fought against them, they'd probably continue falling, thought the crowd. Of course, those changes were already terrifying. In such a short time, the top 10 had completely changed. It was exciting. Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin, and Tianqi didn't care about the ranking list. All they cared about was strength. If they managed to rise in the ranking list, why not? But the most important thing was what they could get from that. Since they were rising in the ranking list, they could go to higher floors in the Edict Palace and Champion Hall. That was the most important thing. There was also the mysterious mountain in the periphery of the university. What was there? Were there great resources for cultivation? In a courtyard, Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin, Tantai, and the others had assembled. Qin Wu was there too. He had seen that Lin Feng risen in the ranking list, so he had come. Lin Feng, I would have never thought that you were so strong. You're just a monster. Initially, they wanted to take the Flood Dragon from you, and in the end you crushed them and left like a god. Laughed Qin Wu. Lin Feng's performances were astounding. The news that Lin Feng had displayed such amazing strength had already spread around the university. Qin Wu also knew that Lin Feng was the one who had been abandoned by the gods in the vast celestial ancient city. Outside of the university, they wouldn't have said that. Lin Feng smiled back. Indeed. At university, students have to behave. Ji Chang's club is very proud and arrogant, but you and your friends taught them a good lesson. It's the first time I have seen someone humiliate Ji Chang's club. The first time Qin Wu had seen Lin Feng, he had thought he'd be crushed by Ji Chang's club. He hadn't thought the newcomer was so strong. By the way, do you really intend to create a new faction in Champion University? Asked Qin Wu. He had heard about that. He was curious. Lin Feng glanced at Ho Qing Lin and Tianqi. They both looked moved. Tiantai was very important to them. They really wanted to make Tiantai raise in the great world. It reminded them of the small world. They had to recreate it, sooner or later. And in Champion University, there were many strong cultivators. They could recruit some of them. That would be very useful. The only problem was that they didn't know to what extent they could develop Tiantai within the university. I had the idea indeed, but I don't know if it's a good idea to do it now, nodded Lin Feng. If you create a faction, I, Qin Wu, am willing to join you. Hee, count me in too, said Tantai with a big smile. Ji Chang's club dared act so arrogantly. If Lin Feng and his friends created Tiantai within the university, they wouldn't be able to oppress them. And I was supposed to be a member of Tiantai a while ago already, spoke up Huang Fulong. Not bad. If we could recruit even more people in the future, that'd be great. If we could become strong enough, then we could also have our own territory in Champion University. Tianqi smiled. Everybody was happy to recreate Tiantai. Indeed. We're a small army now. In the future, we can also find some things to do in the Edict Palace and do them together. It'd be easier to accomplish, said Qin Wu. There were many factions in Champion University, and in the Edict Palace, there was always something to do in the news, just like the Demon Pawn thing. Lin Feng had gone alone, but with friends, it might have been much easier. Lin Feng had been able to escape that time because he had precious treasures. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to take the Flood Dragon away. Chapter 1765. Establishing Tiant. Lin Feng, said a voice at that moment. It was extremely loud. Two people appeared in the sky. Yun Qing Yen and a young man in a golden robe. Yang Chugu wasn't there at that moment. He was a member of the Sun Holy clan. He didn't want to meet Lin Feng. Lin Feng was surprised. He looked up at her and asked, "What do you want?" "I need to talk to you about something important, of course," Yun Qing Yen said, looking serious for a moment. But then she smiled and said, "Look, you are all really strong, you're all potential champions, but I'm in list above, in the higher ranking list. I'm stronger than you guys." Higher ranking list? Lin Feng looked at her in a strange way and smiled. No wonder he had remembered her name. She was in the higher ranking list. "So what?" smiled Lin Feng. Yun Qing Yan's eyes twinkled. She smiled back at Lin Feng and said, "You said you wanted to create a new group. You should join mine, the Yun Club." "Why would I join the Yun Club?" asked Lin Feng. "I'm in the higher ranking list. I'm stronger." "You should join my club. That's logical," Yun Qing Yan frowned. Lin Feng and the others looked amused. She didn't look like a strong cultivator. "But we're going to create a group called Tian Tai. We can't join the Yun Club," said Tian Chi. "Otherwise, you could also join Tian Tai?" Yun Qing Yan's eyes twinkled. She smiled and said, "I can also join Tian Tai, but shouldn't the leader of the group be the strongest cultivator?" "Tian Tai doesn't have a leader. Every member is treated equally," said Lin Feng, shaking his head. "The leaders of Tian Tai would remain the same forever." Ho Qing Lin and Tian Chi perfectly understood what Lin Feng meant. Tian Tai's leaders would always be their two teachers. How could that work? A group needs a leader, otherwise, who would lead? Asked Yun Qing Yen. She didn't understand. In Tian Tai, we're all like brothers and sisters. There's no leader, nobody gives orders. That way, if someone harbors evil intentions, we can avoid trouble, Lin Feng said solemnly. Everybody around him understood. Since Lin Feng was going to recreate Tian Tai in Champion University, Tian Tai had to become strong. If people didn't agree with them, they didn't have to join them. Lin Feng wanted to find the other core members of Tian Tai first, the direct disciples. When they were together, they were stronger. Yun Qing Yen looked at Lin Feng strangely. He looked grave and solemn. What was wrong with him? Harbor evil intentions? Strange. "Do you want to join Tian Tai?" asked Lin Feng, smiling at Yun Qing Yen. Yun Qing Yen groaned proudly and said, "Are you trying to scare me? I can join Tian Tai, but if I'm not your leader, at least I should be your higher female fellow disciple, like a big sister. If you want to join Tian Tai, no problem, you're welcome. If you want to leave, we won't try to hold you, but if you betray Tian Tai, or bully your brothers, then you'll be punished," Lin Feng said in a formal manner. He looked at Qin Wu and Tan Tai and said, "Qin Wu, the same applies to you. If you want to join Tian Tai, we'll be like brothers, but if you betray Tian Tai, I won't be merciful." "I understand. We're on the same wavelength. Don't worry. If I join your group, it's because I trust you and I'd love to cooperate with you," Qin Wu nodded. He understood Lin Feng. Sometimes, it was better to discuss things before doing anything. "All right, we're like brothers and sisters, we'll work together now," said Lin Feng, stretching his hand. Then, Huang Fu Long, Ho Qing Lin, Tian Chi, and Tan Tai put their hands on Lin Feng's hand. "And your big sister," laughed Yun Qing Yen. She walked forwards and put her hand on the other's hands, then they all raised their hands up. However, the guy behind her didn't look interested and merely said, "Qing Yen, I'm off," before turning and leaving. Yun Qing Yen smiled and said, "We need to grow bigger. I'll do my best to make the group grow and become strong. People in Champion University will realize how strong we are. That way, more people will join us or fear us." Right indeed. Even though we're not very strong yet, some of us are already in the top 10, will rise up in the list and be in the higher ranking list like you, but for new students, it's not bad. The problem is that some people who are not ranked can't go to the Edict Palace or to Champion Hall, so they don't have powerful skills, techniques and spells, said Qin Wu. Of course, if we manage to become accredited, people will respect us even more. Accredited? Lin Feng looked at Qin Wu. He had never heard of that. Indeed. You still don't know? At Champion University, the strongest groups, including Ji Chang's club, have been accredited. For example, Ji Chang of Ji Chang's club is close to some managers. Some clubs' founders' teachers are also managers of the university. They can all go to the Celestial Mountain. Many people want to join them, explained Qin Wu. Yun Qinyen smiled and told them, "Don't worry about that, with me it'll be fine." With you? Lin Feng looked at Yun Qinyen curiously. "I'm your big sister now, I need to take care of you. I know some elders at university. If you stand out, I can introduce you to them. Then we might become their disciples too. That way, extremely strong cultivators will join Tiantai," Yun Qinyen told them with a smile. Lin Feng was surprised. This girl knew some elders? And he was also surprised because he had heard that only champions could go to the Celestial Mountains. Even though Tiantai will recruit people, the most important thing is still fraternity. If someone tries to control others, they can be as strong as they wish, we won't accept them, said Lin Feng. He looked at Yun Qinyen and said, "Yun Qinyen, you and Qin Wu can take care of the marketing part, we don't know the university that well yet." "Don't worry, leave it to me," Yun Qinyen nodded. She looked at Qin Wu and said, "Qin Wu, come with your big sister." Qin Wu was skeptical. This girl was young, why did she like being called big sister? Lin Feng smiled wryly and said to Ho Qing Lin and Tian Qi, "Brothers, have you seen Mu Chen since we left?" Ho Qing Lin suddenly looked worried and shook his head. "He can transform, he protected us and helped us escape. I don't know, maybe that he went to the 9 great celestial castles. In the last few years, Tian Qi and I stayed together all the time. We only encountered you here in the Holy City. The great world is quite vast. In the past, we had heard of the Holy City, so I thought that everybody would come here. After coming to the great world, Ban Ruo, Li Hen, Xingzhan and some others were controlled by the Celestial Qi Castle, but I saved them and found a safe place for them. I don't know how they are now. We can go and check if they're still there someday," Lin Feng sighed. Ho Qing Lin looked surprised. The Celestial Qi Castle had controlled Ban Ruo and the others? Luckily, they were fine now. "Someday, we'll go back to the 9 great celestial castles and destroy them." Ho Qing Lin swore. Maybe they still control the small world. Sooner or later, Lin Feng nodded. Maybe not all 9 great celestial castles, but at least the Celestial Qi Castle, the Palace of the Celestial Kings of Medicine, and those kind of groups. Even though Tiantai is coming back to life, we must continue becoming stronger. We're very weak and we offended the star group. I want to practice cultivation for a while, Lin Feng told them. He was worried. He wanted to become strong as soon as possible. Tiantai needed a solid foundation. If they weren't strong, then Tiantai would fall again. "You're right. Ji Wuyo is really strong," agreed Tantai. Lin Feng didn't know who that was. Ji Wuyo. Lin Feng remembered that name, that was the first student. Ji Wuyo, Ji Chang's younger brother. Tantai nodded. "I see," Lin Feng nodded. Ji Chang's younger brother. So Lin Feng really needed to become stronger. Ji Wuyo wasn't going to let him off. Chapter 1766. Qin Feng's arrival. Because of the battle, everyone had now heard of Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin and Tian Qi, especially among the low-level emperors. Of course, in order to draw medium-level emperor and high-level emperor's attention, it was still a bit early. After all, they had to do things slowly but surely. They needed to draw the attention of people of the same level, including new extremely strong cultivators. Many people knew about Lin Feng's past in the vast celestial ancient city, and they also knew that he had been abandoned by the gods, that he could control 7 sorts of cosmic energies, and that he was extremely strong. People were stupefied because he had managed to fight against Ji Wuyo. Lin Feng wasn't weak at all. And now they had created Tian Tai at Champion University. Surprisingly, Lin Feng had created a new group and even Yun Qinyan had joined them. She was busy carrying out marketing activities all around the university. She was famous for being strong and beautiful. Surprisingly, she also managed to recruit some people. Lin Feng was rather astonished. But Lin Feng didn't spend too much time with those things. He was practicing cultivation very hard too. Sometimes Ho Qing Lin and Tian Qi found him in Champion Hall. Time passed slowly. New students joined the university. The next time, 5 students joined Champion University. Among those people, Lin Feng knew 3. He would have recognized them if he had been there: Qing Feng, Swan, and Wu. They were all extraordinary. Qing Feng was extremely strong, and Wu was a sun supernatural bird. Swan was also very powerful, as he was a legendary beast. In a secret room, Tan Tai was seated cross-legged. Energies rolled in waves about the room. It felt as if the room were going to explode. Tan Tai was tall and strong, so his energies looked even scarier around him. His veins were moving as his blood and energies flew through them. He looked as wild and mighty as a lion. Tan Tai was rude and simple, but he was strong and talented. He also needed to learn some good skills because he had explosive power. He needed skills which corresponded to his personality. In the 3 other universities, the atmosphere was also lively. Ying Cheng was at the Celestial Godly University practicing cultivation. Many people joined the Celestial Godly University. Among them, someone drew other people's attention: Dugu the winner, who had the Godly Imprint King body and 3,600 Godly imprints. He was also extremely strong. Apart from people who had special bodies, there were also some people from the Snow Clan. All the men and women from the Snow Clan were good-looking and strong, so people loved them. In the ancient university, Chu Chun Chiu drew people's attention. He was a medium-level emperor. They had heard about his adventures in the vast celestial ancient city. In less than a year, he had leveled up to become a medium-level emperor from the Zun Qi layer. His cultivation speed was incredible, really terrifying. People remembered the insane cultivators of the Chu clan from the past. Would he practice that much, though? At the Four Seasons University, the competition was incredible, too. For example, there was Lang Yi, who had a World King body. He was very strong. As a new student, people were shocked. It had been a long time since they had seen such a strong new student. In all the universities, everybody was practicing cultivation hard and trying to become stronger. They knew that they had no choice but to become stronger to get rid of their rivals who were of the same level as them. Lin Feng also practiced cultivation hard. He knew that the cultivation world was cruel. He had to be determined and fight. He was practicing cultivation in his own world, his eyes black as the night, and demon energies were rolling in waves while Devamara Kulpa strength surrounded his body. His whole body was pitch black. The strength around his body also contained some dragon chi. His dragon blood was boiling and he could hear a dragon chant. His flood dragon was powerful and aggressive. He had completely fused together with its blood. At the same time, Lin Feng was raising the baby dragon in his body, which kept growing along with Lin Feng. Lin Feng opened his eyes. At the same time, he released his godly awareness and extended it into his celestial evolution chessboard. In the celestial evolution chessboard, he started making energies evolve. The deployment spell was gigantic. Even though Lin Feng needed time to understand the item better, it was an ancient item and very precious. It was a really good item for Lin Feng, amazingly useful. It allowed him to become stronger and to do many other things. Time passed slowly, months rolling by. Finally, Lin Feng came out of his secret room and heard some voices outside. When Lin Feng came out, he saw a group of people. Yun Qingyan was in front of the group and talking animatedly. Yun Qingyan, what are you doing? Asked Lin Feng, rolling his eyes. Lin Feng, finally you came out. Come and see. I recruited those people. They are now members of Tian Tai. I'm going to go and travel with them to become stronger, Yun Qingyan said, smiling proudly. Lin Feng frowned and looked at Yun Qingyan. Didn't I tell you that you couldn't recruit people just like that? Those people frowned. They looked too proud. as if it was an honor for Tiantai to have such people as them. What was Yun Qingyan doing? Don't worry. We are core disciples. For now, the people I recruit can be external disciples. If they are strong enough, they'll become core disciples too. Smiled Yun Qingyan. Lin Feng, I'm your big sister, I'm trying to help, it wasn't easy to find people. Lin Feng sighed, as you wish. But if someone wants to become a core disciple, we all have to agree, like a big family. All right, I promise. You're Lin Feng. I've heard that Ji Wuyo and you fought. I want to try and fight against you, we'll see why you created Tiantai, interjected one of the people. Lin Feng looked at that person and then at the crowd. He pointed at one of them and said, first, try and fight against him. If you can defeat him, then you'll fight against me. Everybody looked at the person Lin Feng was pointing at. He looked obstinate and unruly, and was wearing a king helmet. He looked strong and aggressive. That young man looked at Lin Feng furiously, but said nothing. He rose up in the air and said to that person, come here and fight. How arrogant, said the other one angrily. He rose up in the air too, and waves of energies rolled in the air, rapidly churning it. However, at that moment, the man with the king helmet suddenly moved as fast as lightning, turning into a golden light beam. He used a physical sun punch. His attack was terrifying. 9 dark waves, the other one called out furiously. In a flash, 9 waves appeared in the sky and rolled towards the helmet wearer. The punch and the waves collided. The sun became bigger and bigger, and the waves evaporated. The helmet wearer's physical body was extremely strong. Boom boom. An explosion spread in the air, and the challenger was blown away. His arm felt extremely sore and was even burning. His face turned deathly pale. What a powerful physical strength and fire. His fire is even more terrifying than fire cosmic energy, thought the watchers, looking at the helmeted man. His eyes looked like suns. They couldn't even look him in the eyes. You're a beast, a sun bird. The challenger was staring at the young man with the helmet. Sun supernatural bird, said the young man with the helmet aloofly. The crowd around was surprised. A bird had joined the university. Why had he joined Tiantai though? Not bad, Lin Feng, you see? I even recruited a sun supernatural bird, said Yun Qingyan with a smile. However, 2 people came out of the crowd, Qing Feng and Swan. Lin Feng had told them back then to come to Champion University. Then they had heard about Lin Feng's adventures and about the fact that he had created Tiantai. Everything was going well for him. Thus, they had decided to join Yun Qingyan's army. I see you're doing well. Surprisingly, you created a group, said Qing Feng, smiling at Lin Feng. Like in the vast celestial ancient city, Lin Feng continued inspiring people. Everybody knew him already. I hope that you'll become stronger quickly. We're supposed to fight soon, said Wu, staring at Lin Feng. Don't worry, you won't surpass me, Lin Feng replied to Wu. Even though he had an incredible godly awareness and was very strong, he couldn't surpass Lin Feng, who had already defeated him. When Yun Qingyan heard them talk, her beautiful eyes twinkled. She looked a little bit angry too. That guy dared attack Lin Feng? Chapter 1767. In the Celestial Mountains, Lin Feng looked at the people Yun Qingyan had recruited and said indifferently, since Yun Qingyan said you were external members, I agree. Of course, if you didn't join Tiantai because you really want to, you can leave. No problems from us. They didn't need many people in Tiantai. They needed strong people who had a sense of belonging. Otherwise, even if they were strong, having them was useless. Especially people like you, said Lin Feng, pointing at the young man who had just lost. People in the crowd started talking. Many of them turned around and left. Nah, I just came to see what was going on, said someone as dozens of people left. In a few seconds, only a few people were left. Yun Qingyan rolled her eyes. She looked at Lin Feng in a strange way. Many people had joined Champion University recently. It had been difficult for her to find recruits. Back then, she had founded the Yun Club and hadn't managed to find that many people, and Lin Feng had made so many people leave after 2 sentences. Lin Feng shrugged and said, such people are useless in Tiantai. You're annoying, the more the merrier, said Yun Qingyan. Then she said to the others, You can go back. If I need you, I'll contact you. All right. The few people glanced at Lin Feng. They had joined Tiantai because they wanted to become champions, and they also wanted to go and travel with fellow students. Let's go, said Lin Feng, smiling at Qing Feng and the others as he finally left the courtyard. They walked slowly. Lin Feng realized with surprise that many people were around. He had never seen so many people in Champion University. How come there are so many people? Whispered Lin Feng. Qing Feng smiled indifferently. You've been practicing for too long. I joined Champion University a while ago, so I know they'll be having the university's celebration ceremony soon, so everyone who was traveling came back. I've heard that some elders will show up during the event. I don't know the details though. What kind of ceremony? Lin Feng pressed. She had been a student for a while, she knew more things than he did. I can tell you the ceremony takes place every 10 years. The champion will also change. Champions don't spend much time at university, they travel a lot. During the event, champions come back. It's also about seeing if some people want to change positions, and it's also to welcome students who have joined the university in the previous 10 years. It's also to see if other students have become stronger. It's an interesting event, very beneficial. Only champions can go to the Celestial Mountain, but during the event, elders show up, so it's the best moment to stand out and draw their attention, Yun Qingyan told him with a superior smile. Lin Feng, someone in the distance called out. Lin Feng gazed that way and saw someone smile strangely. That's the Lin Feng who fought against Ji Wuyo, said the person next to that speaker. Those two people were very strong, medium-level emperors. Indeed. He's funny. After passing the exam, there were some tensions between him and Yu Wenjing. He also killed Shang Jun's brother, so he's very strong. Now, he's the third student, unfortunately. The two people passed next to Lin Feng and continued talking about him. Indeed, what a pity. The ceremony is going to start and Shang Jun is going to come back too. Soon, Shang Jun will kill him. Even if Shang Jun doesn't kill him, Ji Wuyo and Yu Wenjing won't let him off. The others walked away. Lin Feng frowned. He had killed Shang Yu during the exam, and now those people were talking about Shang Jun. He was in the higher ranking list. You offended many people, Qing Feng observed. The situation is really complex in the Holy City. You fight against someone and many people get involved. You can never have a rest here, said Lin Feng. He was speechless. Shang Yu, Yu Wenjing, Ji Chang, they were all like that. If he defeated them, then Ji Chang would be there, too. Of course, especially at university, and there are many young people who belong to rich families. Those rich families send all their kids to the same university, so their older brothers and sisters are here too, and they don't let anyone touch their siblings, said Qing Feng with a nod. Lin Feng was strong and talented, so he had to fight against strong people too. I understand. Qing Feng was right. Unless he stood aloof from worldly strife and refrained from having a social life, then he had to have enemies. It was the same for everyone, even rich kids. Those holy clans geniuses also fought against each other, even in the vast celestial ancient city. Lin Feng, where do you want to go? Yun Qingyan asked Lin Feng. Nowhere, I've been in a tiny room for a while, I need to have a walk, replied Lin Feng. Awesome, I'll take you somewhere, smiled Yun Qingyan. Then, she grabbed Lin Feng's sleeve and pulled him along. Your big sister will help you become more educated. Lin Feng was used to hearing her speak that way. Both of them ran along very quickly. After a short time, Lin Feng realized that Yun Qingyan had taken him to the Celestial Mountain. There were clouds circling about it. The place looked like a magical palace out of a dream. Where are we going? Asked Lin Feng surprised. The Celestial Mountain? Could they go there? I told you, I'll help you become more educated, said Yun Qingyan with a broad smile. She continued walking towards the Celestial Mountain. I thought only champions could go there? Lin Feng followed along curiously. Whoever said that, they don't understand this place. There are more mountains behind it that I can't go to, but this one I can. I'll show you, she smiled, continuing along. After a short time, they arrived at the clouds. Lin Feng saw a big gate in front of him. There were two old men there, seated and playing chess. They looked captivated by the game. Gentlemen, said Yun Qing Yen, walking up to them. The two old men turned their heads and smiled. Qing Yen, you brought someone? Didn't you know you can't bring anyone here? This is my friend, I want to take him home and show him around. Please don't tell me I can't, said Yun Qing Yen. She continued walking, even grabbing one of the old men's sleeves and pulling it like a child. All right, little girl. Let us play and go, sighed the old man, smiling wryly and shaking his head. Thank you very much, said Yun Qing Yen. She continued walking towards the gate. It seems like Yun Qing Yen has a good social status, thought Lin Feng. Show him home? Was she from the university itself? Lin Feng and the others followed behind her. The old men continued playing chess. One of them said, Sun fire, obstinate and unruly, bestial chi, sun cosmic energy. That girl made friends with a three-legged golden crow. The other old man smiled, moved a piece and said, and a young legendary beast. She's mysterious, but the strongest one is the one at the front. There's something inside him. Even though his chi is strange, he is unfathomable. He looks like a murderer too. The two old men continued comparing the people who had been following her. In the mountain, there were many palaces. Yun Qing Yen took Lin Feng and the others to a beautiful palace. In the courtyard, there were two people practicing sword cultivation. Their swords had no chi at all. They were using no energy, but they looked strong. There were many sword marks on the ground. Lin Feng frowned when he saw them. That sword was impressive. Those swords didn't even need strength or energy. They were a man and a woman, both middle-aged. The man looked elegant, the woman looked beautiful. They looked really good together. My baby came back, said the man and the woman, putting their swords down and looking at Yun Qing Yen. Yes, I missed you. I brought some friends, I want to introduce them to you, smiled Yun Qing Yen, hugging her parents. Lin Feng understood, Yun Qing Yen was the daughter of some of the university's staff members. Those people looked like nice persons, however. Yun Qing Yan's parents glanced at Lin Feng and the others sharply. Lin Feng shivered. These people seemed terrifyingly strong. Chapter 1768. Lessoned Masters, said Lin Feng, bowing before Yun Qing Yan's parents and smiling in greeting. You all seem as strong as my daughter. Not bad and rare, nodded Yun Qing Yan's parents. Yun Qing Yan wasn't happy, she said. What? I'm their big sister. Big sister? Are you still trying to lead the Yun Club or what? You should be practicing cultivation really hard. Why are you trying to manage a club? You're wasting your time, Yun Qing Yan's mother scolded her. No, I joined Lin Feng's club, Tiantai. I'm the big sister, pouted Yun Qing Yan. Alright. You're the big sister. So, what are you doing here? Asked Ms. Yun. Yun Qing Yan's beautiful eyes twinkled and she said proudly, Mom, I wanted to introduce my friends to you. Really? Asked Ms. Yun, looking at Yun Qing Yan skeptically. Yun Qing Yan laughed and said, They're very strong, you see. Lin Feng is incredibly talented. 3 months after Lin Feng joined the university, he was already ranked 3rd. He also fought against Ji Wuyo. Ji Wuyo didn't have the upper hand at all. The ceremony is going to start soon, so I was wondering if you could help a bit. I knew you wanted something, Ms. Yun sighed. She then looked at Lin Feng and said, He fought against Ji Wuyo shortly after having joined the university. Not bad indeed. However, the elders won't give him face. I can talk to the elders, but I can't guarantee it will work. As long as you help, that's the main thing, smiled Yun Qing Yan. She looked at Lin Feng and said, Don't miss that opportunity. If you can go to the remote mountains, you think Tiantai will lack members? She challenged him. You're doing honest work, said Ms. Yun. And what about Ji Chang? He's the worst, said Yun Qing Yan. If you were at least half as talented as Ji Chang, I would be happy. You should know that Ji Chang has the potential to become a champion. Many elders think highly of him. He'll become a champion soon. Grand talents mature slowly, as we say. He'll be a source of glory for the university. His group will be more powerful than yours, and he'll become extremely strong, said Ms. Yun. She didn't sound really happy. Yun Qing Yen pouted cutely. Lin Feng smiled. Her parents were very strict, but not mean. Are you both sword cultivators? Lin Feng asked her parents. The father looked back at Lin Feng. Are you a sword cultivator too? Before controlling cosmic energies, sword cultivation was my specialty. Back then, I could condense several sorts of abstruse energies and use different sorts of sword techniques. My attacks weren't bad. Then, I understood cosmic energies and realized that making cosmic energies fuse together was difficult and time-consuming. Therefore, I had to stop practicing sword cultivation temporarily. Perhaps you could teach me something? Lin Feng tried to sound as humble as possible. There's something I find strange though. Qin Yan said that you were the third student, but you have the strength of the Zunqi layer. If you tell me you're hiding your cultivation level, I would be astonished. It would mean you're terrifyingly strong, stronger than me, Mr. Yun noted curiously. Back then, when the skies were supposed to cleanse my body with cosmic energies, they stopped, and the gods abandoned me. People said I was an imperial culpa, but I refused to believe that. Even though I wasn't cleansed by the cosmic energies of the earth and the sky and can't borrow them directly, my body seems to have more cosmic energies than anyone else. I don't think I'm an imperial culpa or that the gods have abandoned me. I think it has something to do with my body type, explained Lin Feng. As he became stronger, there were some things he couldn't hide, or people wouldn't take him seriously and would even think he harbored evil intentions. How strange. Show me your cosmic energies, Mr. Yun told him. Lin Feng nodded and released all his cosmic energies, his qi surging around him. Mr. Yun and Ms. Yun frowned on seeing that he knew several sorts of cosmic energies. Are your reserves of cosmic energies sufficient when fighting? Asked Mr. Yun. I have more than enough, they never run dry. After battles, I also swallow some cosmic energies from the earth and the sky sometimes, said Lin Feng, skirting the whole truth. How strange. Such a body is really rare, said Mr. Yun. He didn't really understand what was going on. He continued, and what about your sword cultivation? Before you learned cosmic energies, could you condense abstruse energies? Yes, I fuse them together in my sword quite often, from 4 to 5 different sorts of abstruse energies. I could kill emperors that way, Lin Feng replied evenly. Talented. Mr. Yun nodded approvingly. You're talented, but as you said, cosmic energies and abstruse energies are different sorts of energies. That's the magic of our planet. If you want to make them fuse together, it's not easy. You can't make cosmic energies fuse together like abstruse energies. However, if you can make cosmic energies fuse together in a sword attack or any other sort of weapon, then your attacks would probably be terrifying. However, a sword attack with several sorts of cosmic energies is not easy to learn, mused Lin Feng. Of course, especially since the way you control one sort of cosmic energy isn't the same as the others. You understand too many sorts of cosmic energies, and therefore, you must make great efforts and improve the form and the content, especially if you want to study sword cultivation, Mr. Yun said slowly for Lin Feng to understand clearly. The form and the content? Repeated Lin Feng, looking pensive. Indeed, Mr. Yun nodded. Then he pulled a hair off his head and gave it to Lin Feng. Try cutting it in as many pieces as you can using pure sword cosmic energies and nothing else. Lin Feng was stupefied. He threw the hair in the air and watched it fall down. No skill nor technique, only pure energy? Lin Feng did a knife hand strike in the air, his hand as fast as lightning, cutting through the air. Without cosmic energy and without strength, can you cut it? Asked Mr. Yun. Lin Feng stretched his hand out again. He didn't use cosmic energies or strength. When he tried to cut the hair just flew away and wasn't cut. At that moment, Mr. Yun suddenly did a knife hand strike in the air. He didn't use any strength or energy. He just used his hand. A streak followed his hand, and the hair was cut in two. Form. A strange expression appeared on Lin Feng's face. By watching Mr. Yun, Lin Feng slowly understood. That was more about sword intent, so the form, cutting the hair into several pieces. Mrs. Yun didn't even release sword qi, but Lin Feng could feel the sword intent. That's the form, that's what you see. In other words, no cosmic energy. If you try to use a spell like that, it won't work, but sword cultivators are not only interested in spells. When you use spells, you compare your cosmic energies with your opponent. If I have a great spell, skill, or technique, and you don't stand a chance. If my cosmic energies are much weaker than yours, then you can easily defeat me, explained Mr. Yun. Lin Feng started to understand. Strength was the form, cosmic energies was the cause. Of course, if you only care about the form and don't study spells, techniques, and skills, then your strength will be limited and you will eventually stop progressing. That way, maybe you can cut the hair into 3 or 4 pieces, but in the end your power would still be limited. If your sword intent is high, your attacks also have to be powerful. Lin Feng listened carefully. Qing Feng and the others were amazed too. Sword cultivators were really strong, Mr. Yun was right. That's like my purple lake tank then, I can modify it and improve it because I improved the form. It means the form leveled up, but still, it hasn't become the higher form of intent, murmured Lin Feng. He bowed before Mr. Yun and said, "Thank you very much for your lesson, master." Mr. Yun waved and smiled. "You are a smart boy. I've told Qin Yen that sort of thing thousands of times, but she doesn't understand." "I see," said Lin Feng, carefully not looking at her. "All right, come to my sword pavilion. You won't find many sword things in Champion Hall," smiled Mr. Yun, and brought Lin Feng and the others to his celestial palace. Chapter 1769. Thoughts of Revenge. Yun Qin Yan's parents were sword cultivators. After they become really strong, they had decided that they wanted to stay at university. They became staff members and had a daughter, Yun Qin Yan. In their sword pavilion, they had many sword skills and techniques. It was incredible. They were obviously very wealthy. Lin Feng saw books everywhere, as well as talismans for everyone, and all sorts of books. Lin Feng could sense that those items were all extraordinary. "Lin Feng, these are the skills my wife and I studied. You can have a look. You guys can have a look too. Even though you're not sword cultivators, it could be interesting anyway," said Mr. Yun, smiling at the small crowd. He was being very generous to them. "Thank you very much, master," said Lin Feng. He was touched. It was the first time they met and they were so nice. It was rare to encounter. "Don't be so polite. My daughter is a bad cultivator, but since she brought good cultivators, we can't blame her and we're happy to help, especially young people," said Mr. Yun smiling. "You can have a look, my wife and I don't want to disturb you," said Mr. Yun, before turning to Yun Qin Yen. "Come with me." Yun Qin Yen shivered and made a face before following after her father. Lin Feng walked around and looked at the books. There were many things: water, gold, heaven and earth, death, and wood sword techniques, all using different sorts of cosmic energies. In order to carry out the best attacks, one type of cosmic energy wasn't enough. The cultivator had to control several sorts of cosmic energies and be a sword cultivator, like Lin Feng. Sword Rule, Setting Sun Meteorite. Lin Feng looked at a book. The skill within required 4 types of cosmic energies and was very powerful. It had several steps. The first step consisted of using earth cosmic energy, which descended from the sky to oppress the foe. The second phase was about using fire cosmic energy to create a sun sword to blind and burn people. The third step was about using wind to make the sun plunge the sword from the sky as quickly as possible, and the fourth phase was about making it fall from the sky like a deadly meteorite filled with death. The attacks seemed perfect and the phases were perfectly logical if combined. If all the phases were carried out properly, then the attack was deadly and could frighten anyone. The form of the attack had to be appropriate. Without the proper form and thus the proper will, the sword phases could fail. Form was essential for the attack to succeed, and the cosmic energies had to be used properly too. What a powerful attack. However, the requirements are strict. Ordinary people can't carry out such a terrifying attack, thought Lin Feng. That sword rule was very difficult to study. First, the cultivator had to understand sword meaning, which was the higher version of will. He also had to understand the form, which was related to sword meaning. Then, he had to understand 4 sorts of cosmic energies, which was extremely difficult. However, Lin Feng still remembered all that. If an attack was easy to learn, could it be efficient? Lin Feng continued walking around and looking at other attacks. Lin Feng was in a trance in that place, as if the outside world had nothing to do with him anymore. He loved getting lost in the corridors surrounded by books. Qing Feng and the others left. Lin Feng didn't even know when. A few days later, Lin Feng was lying on the floor. He was dreaming and studying in the dream. He was in Yangzhou City, in the Yunhai sect, at the top of a mountain. He looked like he was dancing, his hand kept moving, one sword attack after another. Around him, leaves kept being sliced apart. The form and the content, form and meaning, then strength, that's how I can carry out powerful attacks, muttering Lin Feng. He was moving almost automatically. The form determines the movement, the will determines the accuracy, the form determines the attack, the will allows me to move automatically, breathed Lin Feng. He started moving slower, automatically. Finally, Lin Feng moved naturally in a free and unrestrained way. He started moving more gracefully, naturally, and started cutting the air. Intent, the form contains intent. That's how the attack works. Lin Feng moved his hands back, and everything disappeared. Lin Feng looked at his hands, there was no strength, no cosmic energy, but meaning was there. In the sword library, Yun Qingyan saw Lin Feng was lying down. She was surprised, Lin Feng was sleeping? Lin Feng, said Yun Qingyan, shaking Lin Feng and poking him. He was startled and suddenly opened his eyes. When he was dreaming, it was easy to wake him up, but because he was in the library, it didn't matter. Nothing could happen to him there. You know how to enjoy life. Surprisingly, you were sleeping, said Yun Qingyan, trying to look angry. She was speechless. She looked at Lin Feng and said, "The ceremony of Champion University will start soon. We have to go." Lin Feng smiled and stood up. "Let's go." Yun Qingyan took Lin Feng outside of the palace. All the palaces looked incredibly lofty in that area. The cultivators of Champion University were terrifyingly strong. Apart from that place, there were also remote mountains. It was said that the remote mountains constituted a small world. The elders of Champion University were truly powerful cultivators. But students couldn't easily go there. Lin Feng and Yun Qingyan went back to the center of the campus. There were many people there now. The ceremony took place every 10 years, so many strong cultivators who had been out traveling had come back. Lin Feng noticed many extremely strong cultivators as he was walking. Medium-level emperors were very common. That's the place for shows there. Many people are there already. Yun Qingyan pointed to a distant place with several fields. Each field was designed for cultivators of different cultivation levels. The field for high-level emperors was smaller than the others. The fields for medium-level emperors and low-level emperors were gigantic. People who arrived first could sit wherever they wanted. Cultivators of all ages were present. Lin Feng, someone in the distance called out. Tan Tai and Huang Fulong were together and shouting for Lin Feng. Lin Feng. On the field of the medium-level emperors, a group of people glanced at Lin Feng and frowned, but they didn't stop walking. Shang Jun is looking for him. He's finally here, said one of them in a low voice. He can hide if he wishes. Shang Jun can't kill him within the university anyway. At least, if that guy doesn't show up too much, fewer people will humiliate him. Those people were talking about him. Some people looked at Lin Feng with compassion. He was from the vast celestial ancient city and the gods had abandoned him. He was lucky that people from the animal clan had made friends with him. But the university wasn't the vast celestial ancient city, it was the holy city. Shang Jun and Lin Feng were both in Champion University. Lin Feng had killed Shang Jun's younger brother, so he wasn't going to let Lin Feng off. Even though Lin Feng heard them, he ignored them. He wasn't interested in them. He stayed with Tan Tai and the others. Tan Tai seemed like he had become even taller. He looked as strong as a tower. "You're still growing up," laughed Lin Feng. Tan Tai scratched his head and said, "That's because of the herbs. I have a special strength in my body which makes me grow taller. I hope I won't grow to the point that I'll scare people away." "You're already scary," said Yun Qingyan, sticking out her tongue. She looked tiny next to him. Tan Tai smiled shyly and said, "Lin Feng, you see how lively it is here? The ceremony takes place every 10 years. There are so many strong cultivators here. Unfortunately, I'm not the protagonist. I hope that next time, I'll be a champion and everybody will admire me." Sooner or later, Lin Feng slapped Tan Tai's shoulder. He asked Yun Qin Yen, "Is the ceremony today?" "Tomorrow," answered Yun Qin Yen, shaking her head. "Let's go and have a rest then," said Lin Feng. As they left, Leng Xia and Puyang watched them coldly. He dared show up. "Let's go and inform Shang Jun. Let's hope he'll be dead by the time the ceremony starts," spat Puyang. He was furious. Lin Feng had humiliated him badly on the battle stage, and he would never forget it. Chapter 1770, Threat. The ceremony, which took place every 10 years, was an extremely important event for Champion University. All the students came back for it. Even the teachers and the elders of the Celestial Mountains participated. In Champion University, even though many people were from famous families, there were also many people who came from remote places. When such people came to the holy city, they were usually very motivated and determined. For those people, the opportunity to meet the elders of the university was incredible, and they couldn't miss such a thing. If they stood out, the elders would notice them. Even for those children who came from rich families, the opportunity was great, as they were also happy to have the elders as teachers. They allowed many young people to become much stronger. It was said that the first of the champions was Ji Chang. He was terrifyingly strong. Many elders had been his teachers. There were all sorts of teachers at Champion University, and sometimes, university students amazed the whole world. Weaker students weren't pitiful here. They could still become stronger. Yun Qin Yen had already made Lin Feng's residence turn into Tiantai's headquarters. At that moment, Tiantai's people were all there. The ceremony takes place every 10 years. "There will be many strong cultivators. It's going to be awesome," said Huang Fulong. His eyes were twinkling. Seeing strong cultivators was always something great. "You're like Tiantai, you'll soon be on stage too. Everybody will admire you, it'll be even more fun for you." Lin Feng smiled at Huang Fulong. Huang Fulong nodded. "You're right. I definitely will, otherwise life wouldn't be worth living." 10 years, Lin Feng, maybe in 10 years we will be standing on that stage too, Tianqi wondered calmly. 10 years could be a long time, but it could also be a short time. After all, they were very young. In 10 years, they could do many things, but staying at the level of a low-level emperor was still possible. However, if their cultivation speed was incredible, they could also become medium-level emperors in 10 years. Anything was possible. 10 years is a long time. "We must do our best," murmured Lin Feng. He took a few steps and said, "Brothers, let's go." "Indeed, 10 years is a long time, we must practice hard," Tianqi agreed. He sounded patient and wise. Maybe 10 years later, they would be even stronger. At the front of the battlefields, there were bleachers and flights of stairs. The crowd understood that the elders had prepared everything for the event. Many people were standing around the fields, too. Some strong cultivators had chi around them, some didn't. Those people are champions. Only champions can stand in the bleachers. They rarely show up normally, they're usually away traveling. Most champions were high-level emperors. Even in the outside world, they would be considered extremely strong cultivators. That kind of cultivation level was rare. They only came back to university when they needed skills and such, or to read the news in the Edict Palace. On the sides of the fields, there were spaces for the new students. When they joined the university, they had different levels and there were few high-level emperors. Most people were willing to go to university when they were still low-level emperors. Few high-level emperors took the university entrance exams. When Lin Feng and the others arrived, they saw an ocean of people. They were astonished. Those people were all geniuses. Even if they came from different backgrounds, at university they were all fellow students. "I've been a student for 9 years, I can stay with you," said Yun Qin Yen with a smile. Even though her parents worked at university, she had only passed the entrance exam 9 years before. Their group of people walked to the side of the fields. Many people noticed them. Lin Feng was famous at university because a battle between new students and members of the Jiwuyo was very unusual. "My parents will be there. When they come, they will tell the elders about you. Do your best," Yun Qinyan said, smiling at Lin Feng. Lin Feng appeared undisturbed. "He's going to die and he dares show up?" a voice asked coldly. Lin Feng and the others turned around and saw Puyang and Ling Xia. Those people were all in the ranking list, and they had all been students for less than 10 years. What? A good-for-nothing dares act that arrogantly? Tantai asked mockingly, looking scornfully at Puyang and the others. Puyang and Tantai were furious and started shaking with anger. They glared at Lin Feng and Puyang said, "Lin Feng, you're hiding your cultivation level, but you're still just a low-level emperor. You're so arrogant you think you can create a group? You overestimate yourself. We'll see what your group will become. Does it have anything to do with you?" Lin Feng sneered, glancing at him. "It doesn't. Even if you and your friends from Tiantai die, I don't care. I just wanted to warn you," said Puyang, smiling coldly and glanced at Tiantai's people. He continued, "Haven't you noticed that someone from the first batch of people you recruited isn't here?" Lin Feng frowned and looked around. He looked back at Puyang icily and said, "Where's Qin Wu?" "Outside in the wild. If you want to go, I'll take you there," Puyang said with a cold smile. "Bastard, you dared take him away." Yun Qin Yen cursed furiously. Her expression had changed drastically. "Yun Qin Yen, even though you're in the higher list, you must understand the rules of the university. Here, you can only challenge people, you can't kidnap people. Regarding Qin Wu, he followed us willingly, and he's outside of the university because the rules don't apply there." "Lead the way," ordered Yun Qin Yen icily. "If you want to go, I'll bring him alone," said Puyang, pointing at Lin Feng. "You can't," said Yun Qin Yen, refusing. "You're plotting against Lin Feng, it's an ambush. We have to go together." "Then forget about it. When the ceremony starts, some people will never come back to university, some people will simply never come back," said Puyang caustically. "Ji Chang's club is full of bastards," shouted Tantai furiously. He clenched his fists. "It's a personal matter. It has nothing to do with Ji Chang's club." Lin Feng said coldly, "I'm coming." "Lin Feng, don't go. Those people are evil. They want to kill you," said Yun Qin Yen. "Don't worry. I'll come back safely," said Lin Feng. Then he walked up to Puyang and said, "Lead the way." "Let's go," retorted Puyang coldly. His eyes were filled with murder. He led the way and the three people left. Behind them, a young man watched Lin Feng go sharply. "Shang Jun, won't you deal with him personally?" asked Yuan Ho. Shang Yu was of the same level and died. "He was incompetent." "He died, but it's his fault," said Shang Jun. He looked emotionless. Yuan Ho was stupefied. That guy was strong, cruel, and emotionless. He didn't care about his younger brother. "Why have I been chasing him then?" asked Yuan Ho. "Shang Yu was my younger brother, even if he died. Only members of the Shang clan can kill him. And people who kill members of family have to die. So we still have to avenge his death," Shang Jun stated, as if it were a law. "Don't worry. He won't come back alive," said Yuan Ho. His eyes were twinkling. Lin Feng was going to die. He wasn't going to be allowed to participate in the ceremony. Chapter 1771. Explosive Attacks. Lin Feng was very quick. They were running towards the exit, towards the wilderness. "Lin Feng, I'm surprised you are willing to die for Qin Wu?" Puyang asked, slowing down and smiling as if he had been talking to a friend. He was happy Lin Feng was going to die. "I'm surprised as well. You're a university student, you're a member of Ji Chang's club, you're in the top 10, and surprisingly, you're a bastard. It seems like you reached a dead end on the path of cultivation," replied Lin Feng coldly. His eyes were pitch black. "Empty words. You're funny for someone who's going to die," Puyang retorted aggressively. He was terribly pissed off. For everything Lin Feng had done to him, he deserved to die 100 times. They couldn't kill him on the territory of the university, only outside it. But all in all, as long as Lin Feng died, that was fine. After leaving the city, Puyang took Lin Feng far away from the university. After all, they were doing something that was against the rules of the university. Nobody would see them in this remote place. They wanted to do a clean job that nobody would know about it. Even though Lin Feng was already the third student, he still wasn't a valuable asset for the university. Nobody would care if he died. Finally, Puyang and the others arrived in the middle of some mountains which reached the clouds. In the distance, on a mountain, Qin Wu was seated. His qi was very weak and his face was deathly pale. He looked furious. Qin Wu. Lin Feng's facial expression changed drastically. Qin Wu was surrounded by 3 guards. They were all students of Champion University, members of Ji Chang's club. They were very strong people who were ranked. With so many people surrounding him, he couldn't do anything. In the distance, at the top of another mountain, there was someone in black clothes. His eyes were closed as if all of that had nothing to do with him. Yuan Ho had invited him to come. His name was Feng Heisha, and he was a strong cultivator from the higher list. At that moment, Feng Heisha opened his eyes and looked at Lin Feng indifferently. He was a bit unhappy. 5 members of Ji Chang's club for a new student who was on the ranking list? Wasn't that enough? Why did he need to come? He was annoyed, but since Yuan Ho was willing to compensate him, he came anyway. Of course, if nobody had asked him to come, it would have been better. Qin Wu opened his eyes, finally looking scared. He said to Lin Feng, "I wouldn't have thought that Ji Chang's club would do such a thing. Lin Feng, you should not have come. They were waiting for you." Ridiculous, it's the law of the jungle. Qin Wu, when Lin Feng had just become a student, you kept helping him and you confronted Ji Chang's club even though we've never offended you. We've always given you face. You don't know how to differentiate good from bad and decided to make friends with Lin Feng. Since it's that way, you can only blame yourself, shouted Puyang furiously. Lin Feng was furious. Ji Chang's club had kidnapped Qin Wu because he was friends with Lin Feng. "I'm here now. Will you let him go?" Lin Feng asked coldly. "Someone look at him," said Puyang coldly. The 2 others, as well as Puyang and Leng Xia, surrounded Lin Feng. 4 people for a new student who is on the list of potential champions? "I don't care, you can't use precious treasures, you have to use your strength," Feng Heisha said coldly to Puyang and the others. What were they doing? Especially Puyang and Leng Xia. They were both in the top at university and now they were 4 people around Lin Feng. Boom boom boom. A terrifying qi invaded the air and cosmic energies started whistling. Puyang condensed thunders, throwing them straight towards Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng remained motionless, as placid as water. He let the thunder cosmic energies bombard him. His physical body is even more powerful than before. Puyang pulled a long face. Using the cosmic energies of the earth and the sky to fight against Lin Feng was useless. He could only use cosmic energy spells to fight against him. Lin Feng's physical body was too strong. Lin Feng had been cleansed by the Devamara Kalpa strength a 5th time, and his physical strength had improved again. His physical body was now level 9 of the low Huang Qi layer. It meant that he could almost resist any level 9 cosmic energy. "Let's attack him together and kill him," Puyang said coldly. Then he charged ahead, quickly releasing thunder energies, turning the air purple. At the same time, empty space energies also appeared. Leng Xia also used his deadly imperial punch, which contained death energy. The others weren't any weaker. One of them released a gigantic golden hand, and the other used the 9 cauldrons celestial qi skill, the same skill as Qin Wu. The 4 cultivators released deadly energies at the same time. The air was distorted and whistling sounds were cutting it. All the energies moved towards Lin Feng at full speed and at the same time. Lin Feng was protecting himself with 2 heavy armors. He jumped and suddenly lights moved in every direction, containing empty space and earth cosmic energies. The field became completely flat, trees, grass, and so on disappeared as Lin Feng continued moving. Bzz. Lin Feng moved like the wind to the right, and at the same time, he didn't forget to punch out and release his purple tank towards an enemy, preventing one from attacking, and continued running while condensing more earth energy. Lights also continued moving in every direction. The air became dark. Lin Feng started the first phase of his setting sun meteorite. His sword contained infinite earth strength. Using the incredible physical strength of his arms, the attack descended from the sky at full speed. It was an extremely heavy sword and it fell down onto that man's body. The golden hand and the heavy sword collided. The enemy had the impression he had just punched a gigantic mountain. Boom. After the first phase, it was as if heaven and earth had started collapsing. The pressure was terrifying. The cultivator's arm was jangling with pain, as if he had been paralyzed. Lin Feng's sword attack was too terrifying. He raised his head, but Lin Feng didn't wait. A sun sword appeared, dazzling to the eyes. He was staring at the sun. Lin Feng's speed was terrifying. He used wind and empty space energies to move faster. His sword descended from the sky at full speed and crashed onto that cultivator. Blood splashed all around. That cultivator's body had been bisected. He hadn't been able to resist Lin Feng's second sword phase and had died. After killing one person, Lin Feng suddenly turned around. In his left head, Devamara Rule's strength suddenly appeared and rolled out in waves, shredding everything. Imprison! Lin Feng started running quickly. Suddenly, empty space and earth energies condensed to form a cage, and the three other enemies were immediately imprisoned. Deployment! The fighters were stunned. That was deployment spell strength. Boom! Lin Feng accelerated and ran towards the man who used the 9 Cauldrons celestial chi skill. He was just running with his fist raised, filled with destructive Devamara Kulpa strength. That person's face turned deathly pale. Suddenly, lights emerged as he took out a precious item. However, Lin Feng's eyes were pitch black and he shouted, "Die!" His voice penetrated into the man's brain through his eyes. He started shaking as Lin Feng arrived in front of him. Lin Feng threw out a punch which pierced through the cage and violently crashed onto the other's face, and his head exploded. Cosmic energies dispersed and he collapsed, his ancient cauldron still in hand. Break! Puyang and Leng Xia violently bombarded the cage as they grimaced. In such a short time, Lin Feng had killed 2 people, and 2 of them were still imprisoned. They were at the same level as him, but they seemed so weak even though they were also ranked. They were geniuses too. What was going on? Lin Feng then headed towards Leng Xia. Leng Xia was still bombarding the cage, rumbling sounds spread out, and the cage finally broke open. He threw his deadly imperial punch instantly. Chasing wind sword. Lin Feng moved like the wind and suddenly released even more wind energies. Wind meaning surrounded Leng Xia, as well as death sword energies. The deadly punch broke apart. Finally, some death wind whistled and Leng Xia retreated. He saw the death sword pass just next to his throat. He was dumbstruck and terrified, and then his head fell off his body. Boom boom. Puyang also attacked the cage in which he was. His face was deathly pale. He was furious and terrified. Lin Feng had killed 3 ranked people. Those 3 ranked people had died so quickly. They hadn't even been able to withstand a single attack and had died instantly. Dazzling lights invaded the air. Puyang had no time to run to Feng Heisha. He took out a treasure and thunder energies rolled in the air. Lin Feng took out his Tianji sword, releasing it to float in the air. At the same time, a sun disk appeared in his hand. It was dazzling like the sun. "If you attack me, I'll kill Qin Wu," shouted Puyang, fleeing rapidly. His face was deathly pale. He didn't want to fight anymore. Chapter 1772, Transformation. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the one guard who was still next to Qin Wu. He said, "You can go, I won't kill you. But if you touch him, I'll kill you." Then Lin Feng released death energies through his eyes. That guard shivered and glanced at Feng Heisha. At that moment, Feng Heisha was watching Lin Feng. His eyes were twinkling. Lin Feng was so strong. He controlled several types of cosmic energies. His sword techniques and deployment spells were incredible. He had killed 3 ranked cultivators in the blink of an eye. To him, those 3 ranked people were pieces of trash. Lin Feng looked at Puyang again and said coldly, "You want to bring about your own destruction." Then Lin Feng threw his sun disk. Suddenly, a gigantic sun appeared and streaked across the sky like a shooting star. A beautiful fire trail appeared behind, streaking towards Puyang. Puyang pulled a long face. The weapon he had taken out was a thunder weapon. He threw it in the air and it collided with the sun disk. Explosions spread out, and immediately after that, a furious sword charged at him like lightning, deadly energies preceding it. Puyang released empty space strength while golden lights surrounded the Tianji sword. Kacha! The Tianji sword spat out thunder energies which slammed into Puyang's body and propelled him backwards. At the same time, the dazzling sun disk arrived again, blinding him. "Explode!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. Puyang gave a horrible shriek as the Tianji sword continued whistling and pierced through his head. "He's dead!" The guard next to Qin Wu was dumbstruck. Lin Feng slowly turned around and asked coldly, "You're not leaving?" That guard grimaced, but he couldn't move away from Lin Feng's stare. He could see the source of the 9 netherworlds in Lin Feng's eyes. Gradually, his will was corroded. Demonic will flew throughout his brain. The 9 netherworld source bombarded his thoughts. He couldn't think clearly. Then he heard a demonic song, and he couldn't get away from it. "Oh no!" The guard was terrified. Lin Feng took out the long spear. Lin Feng hadn't even arrived in front of him, but the spear disappeared, and when it reappeared, it had pierced through his third eye. The spear contained illusion strength. And since his will had been corroded by the demonic energies, he hadn't been able to react. Lin Feng jumped and landed next to Qin Wu. He crouched and released life cosmic energy, healing Qin Wu. "Lin Feng, it seems like everybody underestimated you," smiled said Qin Wu. "That guy was incredible. He controlled death and life cosmic energies. That was amazing." Feng Heisha stood up and headed towards Lin Feng. "You're quite strong. Unfortunately, you're going to die. I already promised someone you'd die, so I have to kill you." "What a pity," said Feng Heisha. His chi was monumental. "Lin Feng, that guy is from the higher list, that's Feng Heisha. He controls wind and demonic cosmic energies. He's very dangerous and enigmatic. Some people who were much stronger died against him. He's too dangerous. His rank is 60-something in the higher ranking list. You can't fight against him," Qin Wu told Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded. Champion University's medium-level emperors were terrifying indeed. That guy's rank was 60-something. Someone had planned everything to make sure that Lin Feng would die. "You are talented, I'll let you choose how to battle. We can use weapons or strength as you wish," Feng Heisha said calmly. There were strange pitch-black lights under his feet. What was that black thing? Was it black cosmic energy? In case it was, what was it used for? Feng Heisha was very self-confident. He was certain Lin Feng was going to die, as if he couldn't escape at all. "Do I have to teach people from the higher list that you can't use weapons against another student?" said Lin Feng mockingly. Lin Feng took Qin Wu away. He didn't want him to get even more injured. At that moment, Lin Feng had already put his Tianji sword and sun disk away. Even though he was convinced that he'd have the advantage using weapons, he needed to fight properly to become stronger. "Can you tell me who asked you to come here?" said Lin Feng to Feng Heisha too indifferently. "You're almost dead. Knowing it would be useless. You're slightly weaker than me. You can attack first," offered Feng Heisha. Lin Feng promptly started running towards him at full speed, condensing a sword in his hand. Feng Heisha could clearly sense how oppressive the energies were. Lightning started descending from the sky at full speed. Feng Heisha raised his head. He didn't have the impression that he was facing a sword, he had the impression it had started raining oppressive and heavy mountains. Form and determination. Feng Heisha frowned in surprise. Lin Feng was really a genius. He was a low-level emperor, but he understood form and determination like this. And his cosmic energy attacks were also powerful. But the difference between medium-level emperors and low-level emperors was important. Feng Heisha raised his hand, and a terrifying wind invaded the air as he condensed powerful wind energies. The two threads of energy collided. A light beam appeared, the air exploded. Lin Feng's silhouette shot up into the sky, leaving a trail of energy behind him. He was starting the second phase of his sword attack. The sun blazed blindingly in the sky. Feng Heisha groaned. A dark cosmic energy blotted out the sky, Feng Heisha in the middle. Sunlight couldn't pierce through it. The darkness surrounded Lin Feng, but Lin Feng was holding a sun sword in his hand. Wind cosmic energy surrounded him as he moved away. The second phase of his attack wasn't over. Wind energies surrounded his sword, form and determination fused together. The energies twinkled. Umph. Feng Heisha smiled coldly and also condensed wind energies. His cosmic energies were more powerful than Lin Feng's, so he was faster at it. Then, Feng Heisha suddenly disappeared. Boom! A terrifying strength appeared, moving like wind and thunder. Lin Feng suddenly moved extremely fast, a sonic boom following him. Feng Heisha was surprised again. He landed on the dark area, glanced around, and 3 of Lin Feng's clones appeared. Each Lin Feng had a terrifying qi. He couldn't see which one was true. External body transformation. Feng Heisha was astonished. These 3 Lin Fangs weren't identical. The 3 Lin Fangs jumped at the same time. Light beams appeared and intertwined. Feng Heisha sensed a strong qi rising. Those 3 clones had a real strength, they weren't pure illusion. Deployment spell strength surrounded his darkened territory. Feng Heisha was more and more amazed. His darkness cosmic energy was powerful enough to coat him in darkness. He didn't look like a cultivator anymore. He moved like the wind, wanting to hide in the darkness. However, the 3 Lin Feng's clones were closing on him. Earth and empty space energies emerged, a cage appeared and Feng Heisha reappeared. What a powerful deployment spell! Feng Heisha frowned. Lin Feng's clones had carved marks and created a cage. He hadn't noticed that Lin Feng had cloned himself when he was fighting against Pu Yang and the others. The 3 clones had created a powerful deployment spell, forming a cage in which Feng Heisha was imprisoned together with Lin Feng. That deployment spell is a cage. It's the first time I used for real. Since you're going to kill me, you don't have to worry, the 3 clones mocked Feng Heisha. However, Feng Heisha was probably going to die, not Lin Feng. Feng Heisha kept glancing around. He was starting to be worried. The 3 clones started casting another deployment spell, a destructive one this time. Feng Heisha grimaced. Lin Feng's deployment spells were too scary. The more time he gave to Lin Feng, the less chance he had to win the battle. He was feeling less and less confident. The dark shadow charged towards Lin Feng. A hand suddenly moved towards Lin Feng at full speed, but a purple tank intervened like an indestructible shield. At the same time, one of the other clones released death energy and jumped ahead. Lin Feng wanted to use the 4 energies destructive assassination. He wanted to kill him in one strike. The last clone condensed a heavy sword with earth energy inside. Feng Heisha sensed the pressure from all sides. The 3 Lin Fangs attacked at the same time. Feng Heisha had the sensation he was going insane. Chapter 1773. Ancestor Zhu Tian by the battling fields. Yun Qingyan was with the others. She looked extremely worried. How can you be so relaxed? Asked Yun Qingyan to Ho Qinglin and Tianqi. Those guys were Lin Feng's friend. He's a monster. He won't die that easily. I'm sure Lin Feng will come back, Tianqi said lightly. They had survived in the small world and the great world. They had gone through far more terrible things. They were convinced nothing was going to happen to him. But some other people were worried. Yuan Ho looked unmoved, but on the inside he was a bit worried. He kept gazing into the distance. He thought, the ceremony is going to start. Feng Heisha and the others should come back now. Yuan Ho was convinced that Lin Feng couldn't escape. Feng Heisha was a medium-level emperor. The difference between Lin Feng and him was terrifying. Lin Feng was strong, but he was just in the normal ranking list, while Feng Heisha was in the higher ranking list at 60-something. They had also sent other strong cultivators who were in the top 10 of the normal list. Lin Feng couldn't win against such a scary army. Now, Feng Heisha was supposed to come back to the ceremony. 2 silhouettes appeared in the distance. Yuan Jing raised his head and saw Ji Wuyo and Yuan Jing. They were holding hands and looked like a perfect couple. Yuan Ho smiled when he saw them. Ji Wuyo and Yuan Jing were a perfect couple. They were attracted to one another. Yuan Ho was happy about that. The Ji clan had a potential future champion, Ji Chang, so they were happy. Many people admired them. They also admired Ji Wuyo. He had joined Champion University and had amazed everyone by becoming the first student. Many people said he was walking on the same path as his older brother and he would amaze everyone. Ji Wuyo arrived at full speed and stopped in the air. He looked at Yuan Ho and then at Tiantai's people. He asked coldly, "Where is Lin Feng? You set up a plot against him and now you ask us?" Spat Tiantai. Ji Wuyo frowned and demanded, "What do you mean?" "Ji Wuyo Princess," Yuan Ho said at that moment. Ji Wuyo glanced at Tiantai and the others coldly. Then he moved over to Yuan Ho and asked, "What's going on?" "Back then, Lin Feng humiliated us and killed Shang Yu, so I sent Puyang and Leng Xia to get our revenge. Lin Feng won't participate in the ceremony," Yuan Ho told them. Ji Wuyo frowned and groaned at his words. Doing that against someone as small as Lin Feng, what for? He wasn't worth it. Forget about it. He's not important. If he dies, that's good. Otherwise, it doesn't matter, said Yuan Ho indifferently. Tiantai and the others looked furious. Yun Qingyan smiled sarcastically, said, "Losers dare act that arrogantly, I don't know why. They have no sense of honor. They think they're men but they're worthless," said Tiantai mockingly. Even though Yu Wenjing was strong, he had lost against Ho Qinglin, but he continued being that arrogant. Yu Wenjing frowned and sneered, "Tianai, right? Remember, I will destroy you." "You dare say that?" said Yun Qingyan. "Yun Qingyan, your parents are staff members here at Champion University. I respect you but don't go too far. Your parents don't have the highest social status here. There are many people as powerful as them at university," Ji Wuyo threatened. Yun Qingyan pulled a long face. What a bastard, he dared talk about her parents. "You're just a student and you dare act that arrogantly. You think your brother is almighty? So what?" Ji Wuyo huffed. "Besides, my brother is my brother, I am me, I don't need to rely on him to be famous." Yun Qingyan groaned coldly. At that moment, the crowd was startled. In the distance, some people had arrived. The elders, dozens of elders. The crowd gazed into the distance and everybody started whispering, "Only celestial emperors can be elders. They contribute a lot. They're also among the strongest people in their category. There are many hidden talents at university. Students are geniuses. The holy city's strongest groups are neither aristocratic groups nor holy clans, but the universities. My parents are here," Yun Qingyan whispered. The elders landed next to the battlefields and sat down in the floating bleachers on the sides of the battlefields. "Masters." Many people greeted the elders politely. For many of them, it was the first time they had ever seen elders from the university. Usually, those people didn't come out, and when they did, they were not recognizable. In the distance, a cloud had appeared. People raised their heads in surprise. The ancient elders had shown up. Those people were monumentally strong, saint emperors. Even in holy clans, saint emperors were terrifying cultivators. However, saint emperors were very ambitious and never wanted to stop. 3 silhouettes appeared in the sky and descended from the sky. They sat on the main seats of the main bleachers. The ancient elders are not the same ones as 10 years ago. Champion University is terrifyingly powerful, thought a few people who had participated in the previous ceremony. "That's Ancestor Zhutan. Surprisingly he's here," thought Yun Qingyan, looking at the old man in the middle. He had an imposing appearance. She had seen that ancient elder once before. Her parents had told her his name, Ancestor Zhu Tian. He used to be the director of Champion University. He was extremely strong and could destroy the sky with his celestial hands attacks. He had incredible powers. What if Lin Feng isn't coming back? The ancestors are incredible. If Lin Feng stood out, they would notice him and his future would be amazing, thought Yun Qingyan. Her parents looked at her and nodded. If Lin Feng showed up, they'd be able to recommend him. Such opportunities were extremely rare, once every 10 years. At that moment, Ji Wuyo also looked at the ancient elders and said to Yu Wenjing, "That's Ancestor Zhu Tian. Back then, I went to the Celestial Mountain with my brother and I saw him. He must remember me. I'll try to help you, but even if he doesn't want to recruit disciples, the 2 ancient elders next to him are also terrifyingly strong." "All right." Yu Wenjing nodded. She looked excited. If an elder became her teacher, she would have the keys to becoming a terrifyingly strong cultivator. The ceremony is going to start, thought the crowd. The lists would maybe change, especially for the champions. Where are they? Thought Yuan Ho, frowning and gazing into the distance. Why did Feng Heisha need so much time to take care of such a weak cultivator as Lin Feng? He had sent Feng Heisha to deal with Lin Feng just in case. Pu Yang and Leng Xia were really strong, so in a team of 5, Lin Feng had to be dead already. At that moment in the distance, 2 people arrived. Lin Feng was there. He looked confident and at ease, just as handsome as before. Yuan Ho frowned. He suddenly looked furious. How's that possible? How come he's alive? And with Qin Wu? Yuan Ho frowned. There was nobody behind Lin Feng and Qin Wu. Where were Feng Heisha, Pu Yang and Leng Xia? Yuan Ho didn't understand. Where were they? Lin Feng. At that moment, Qin Feng had also noticed Lin Feng. She was very happy. Yun Qing Yen and the others looked over excitedly. Lin Feng was back. He's all right, and he brought Qin Wu back. Yun Qing Yen was surprised. Lin Feng was safe and sound, and Qin Wu was even with him. Chapter 1774. Will you fight or not? Lin Feng. Tan Tai and the others rose up into the air, grinning broadly. Lin Feng jumped over to them, Qin Wu following. Lin Feng glanced at Yuan Ho coldly and said, Ji Chang's club's star group consists in a bunch of stupid bastards worse than dogs. They're just shameless. The members of Ji Chang's club were furious when they heard Lin Feng. How arrogant! Nobody dared offend Ji Chang's club, but Lin Feng did, and he kept humiliating them all the time. Empty words, said Ji Wuyo, coldly glancing at Lin Feng. He was a member of Ji Chang's club's star group. He also felt humiliated. The star group sent 5 people to kidnap my friend Qin Wu and threatened to kill him unless I went there. Then they wanted to kill me. They're worse than cowards, little worthless dogs. You're a disgrace to the university, shouted Lin Feng aggressively. He didn't give Ji Chang's club any face at all. People around gradually turned to them. Qin Wu was injured, so the crowd believed that Ji Chang's club had done that to him. Ji Chang had founded Ji Chang's club and was extremely strong, so in recent years they had become more and more arrogant. They dared do anything for power. Lin Feng had humiliated them so many times. Ji Chang's club wanting to get their revenge was absolutely possible. Few people dare humiliate Ji Chang's club, and now Lin Feng keeps humiliating them over and over again. They even sent 5 people to kill him, thought the crowd. They were wondering who the 5 cultivators were. After the ceremony, they'd go and see the ranking list. If those 5 people weren't on the ranking list anymore, it would mean that Lin Feng had killed them. Lin Feng was really strong, so it was possible. What they didn't know was that the cultivators Lin Feng had killed weren't only on the normal ranking list. He had also killed a cultivator who was on the higher ranking list. Only Yuan Ho knew that such a cultivator was there to deal with Lin Feng. What he didn't understand was, where was Feng Heisha, and why hadn't he tried to kill Lin Feng? Lin Feng, shouted Ji Wuyo furiously. The air suddenly became calm. Ji Wuyo glared at Lin Feng with murder in his eyes and said coldly, Do you want to die? After the ceremony, Tiantai's people will fight against the members of the star group on the champion stage, and this time will sign a contract for a battle to death. Do you accept? Lin Feng shot back, looking proud and aggressive. Even though Tiantai only had 1 medium-level emperor, the low-level emperors they had were terrifyingly strong. Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin, Tian Qi, Wu, Qing Feng, Swan, Tantai and Huang Fu Long. And now that Lin Feng had already killed 5 strong cultivators from the star group, maybe that they couldn't compete with them anymore. Ji Wuyo and Yu Wenjing could compete with them, but the rest couldn't. Indeed, a bunch of worthless bitches. They dare call themselves the best group of Champion University? They are the only ones who think that way. They think they are famous because Ji Chang is famous, but they're so pathetic. Tian Tai, which has just been created, can already destroy the star group, Tan Tai declared aggressively. It was difficult for him to control himself. Yu Wenho and Ji Wuyo, the leaders of the star group, were furious. The star group had never been that humiliated before. However, Tiantai's low-level emperors were indeed terrifying, especially Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin, and Tian Qi. They were in the top 10 of the university. Lin Feng glared at Yuan Ho. He didn't talk much, but he was the leader of the star group, and the other despicable cultivators of the group were close to him, or in other words, they obeyed his orders. Lin Feng asked Yuan Ho scornfully, "Yuan Ho, do you accept the challenge or not?" Yuan Ho narrowed his eyes and looked back at Lin Feng coldly. Nobody had ever asked him if he would accept a challenge. Lin Feng was the first ever. "You're acting recklessly. I alone can destroy you guys," answered Ji Wuyo, arrogantly releasing energies. "How shameless," said Tantai. "You don't need to fight against so many people. As long as you fight, one of us is enough to destroy you. Don't worry," said Lin Feng demeaningly. Their chi kept colliding in the air, creating a stifling pressure. At the top of the stairs, Ancestor Zhu Tian watched Lin Feng and Ji Wuyo. He whispered to the person next to him, "That must be Ji Wuyo, Ji Chang's younger brother. I've heard that he was the first student in the lower list, right?" Ancestor Zhu Tian, "Indeed, that's Ji Wuyo. He's talented, definitely as talented as his brother." "He's a rare genius," smiled the person next to him. Ancestor Zhu Tian nodded and said, "Do you know who that boy is? The one who's challenging him. And why does he only have the strength of the Zun Qi layer?" "Indeed, he's strange. He seems to be a Zun cultivator," remarked the two old men next to him. They looked surprised. Even if Lin Feng had practiced a technique to hide his cultivation level, it wouldn't have worked on them. Ancestor Zhu Tian, Mr. Yun spoke up at that moment. He smiled and said, "I know him. His name is Lin Feng. He's a friend of our daughter. He's extremely talented. He controls several sorts of cosmic energies and has a strange body. If you're interested, I can take him to the Celestial Mountain to introduce him to you." "I see." Ancestor Zhu Tian nodded. He understood what Mr. Yun meant. He was recommending Lin Feng, "Let's first see how the ceremony goes." After that, the elders stood up and walked to the battlefields. Everything calmed down. Lin Feng, Ji Wuyo, and the others stopped arguing. Everybody also landed on the ground and looked to the elders at the top of the bleachers. It's the ceremony of Champion University. It takes place every decade. For us old men, 10 years are nothing, but for Champion University, it's a long time, especially for young geniuses who progress very quickly. It's also a very important moment in their lives. Therefore, we want to see how strong you have become. Ancestor Zhu Tian looked at the crowd and said, "All right, we're just watching. The real protagonists are the students, you. Let's see how strong the geniuses of the lower ranking have become. Maybe that the lists will change today." When the crowd heard Ancestor Zhu Tian, they looked at the battlefields in the middle. There were 99 strong cultivators. One person was missing, the founder of Ji Chang's club, the champion of the university, Ji Chang. But nobody said anything. At Champion University, nobody could replace him. Ji Chang's goal was to become the real champion of all schools. Champion University didn't get involved. "I'll go first," said a strong cultivator as he jumped out. He pointed at a strong cultivator and said, "Fang Yunshi, come and fight." Fang Yunshi is the 53rd cultivator of the highest list. The challenger's name is Qin Yang. He is the 62nd of the list. They are both extraordinary cultivators, thought the crowd. The highest list couldn't change as much as the lower lists, as new students weren't that strong. The highest list, which people also called the Celestial Champion ranking list, rarely changed. And now the challenger had challenged someone who was 9 positions higher than him in the list. He was very self-confident. The battle didn't disappoint the crowd. Most fighters of the Celestial Champion ranking list were high-level emperors. Their cosmic energies were terrifying. The earth and the sky changed each time they used cosmic energies. They also controlled their cosmic energies extremely well. The strong cultivators around the battlefield had to help to destroy the energies which spilled over. Soul. At that moment, Lin Feng looked at the two fighters. Their cultivation souls had already fused together with their human souls. They could leave their physical bodies and still be extremely strong, because their souls were closely connected to the strength of their godly awareness. It was very difficult to destroy their godly awareness. Finally, Qin Yang lost the battle. he didn't succeed in his challenge, but the battle was amazing. He wasn't sad though, he just wanted to become stronger and he'd continue rising in the ranking list. After that, many people fought. They were all terrifying. Lin Feng was amazed. The students were all geniuses. The students who were in the Celestial Champion ranking list were the most powerful cultivators, the 100 strongest cultivators of Champion University. In the outside world, they could easily destroy ordinary high-level emperors. Lin Feng still had lots of work to do to become as strong as those people. "What do you think?" asked Ancestor Zhu Tian to the old men on his side. He seemed excited. "If they are strong, why not? But someone who could really become a champion is difficult to find," said one of the old men sighed. "Indeed, once every few hundreds of years you can find one. Unfortunately, back then, if Ling Tian hadn't died, he could have become a champion, just like Ji Chang. We would have had 2 champions before Ying Qing became one," the other old man said indifferently. They also knew a few things about what had happened back then. Ling Tian, Ying Cheng, and Ji Chang were incredible cultivators of their generation. Chapter 1775. Display your strength. The battles for the Celestial Champion ranking list were over. There were only 100 cultivators in that list. If someone wanted to fight against people who were in the Celestial Champion ranking list, they could challenge them after the ceremony. Ancestor Zhu Tian, the 2 old men and all the elders looked at the crowd. Ancestor Zhu Tian smiled and said, "No wonder those who are in the Celestial Champion ranking list are considered as heroes. You're all astonishingly strong. Someday, you'll amaze the whole world." "Thank you very much, Ancestor," said all the cultivators of the Celestial Champion ranking list, bowing before Ancestor Zhu Tian. In the future, they wouldn't necessarily become as strong as Ancestor Zhu Tian. He was way too strong. Actually, such cultivators were already almost at the very top of cultivation. "When I see you, you remind me of myself when I was your age," Ancestor Zhu Tian beamed. Then he looked at the new cultivators and gave them an encouraging smile. "You all became students in the last 10 years. You're all very motivated and you're starting to progress in your dream to become extremely strong cultivators. Today, I'd like to see how strong you are. I want to see how strong the new geniuses we have are. Of course, if the staff members have noticed someone abnormally strong, they can make some recommendations and I'd be glad to see them display their strength. Young people like to push the limits," he continued warmly. Nobody would have thought the old man was a terrifying cultivator when seeing him. He seemed too nice. "Young people, if you are very strong, maybe that the ancestor will assign teachers to you," spoke up the old man next to Ancestor Zhu Tian cheerfully. The students were excited, as that was what they were all hoping for. "Come and display your strength. Those who want to try can rise up into the air and show us," Ancestor Zhu Tian told them. One person said, "Me," before rising up into the air and releasing several sorts of cosmic energies. The crowd frowned. 5 sorts of cosmic energies was impressive. Then he carried out an attack. Gigantic waves of energies gathered in the air. The wind was so strong that dust rose to the skies when he set it off. "Not bad. The students of my champion university are all heroes." Ancestor Zhu Tian nodded. 5 sorts of cosmic energies, that wasn't bad, and he could also use them to carry out attacks. Some people were immediately dispirited. They initially wanted to display their strength, but after that, they realized they weren't as strong as that guy, so they felt reluctantly. As expected, a second student rose up into the air. He was a sword cultivator and knew 3 sorts of cosmic energies, which he could condense into his sword attacks. Surprisingly, cosmic meaning appeared, and made his sword attacks were terrifying. "Brilliant!" exclaimed Ancestor Zhu Tian, smiling and nodding his approval. At that moment, a few silhouettes rose up into the air. At the same time, they released chi. One of them had several sorts of cosmic energies, another one controlled terrifying techniques, and the last had a special body. They were all extraordinary. The crowd on the ground gasped in amazement. Lin Feng sighed. Those people were indeed really strong. "I'll go and try too." Tantai smiled. Then he rose up into the air, a lion roared, the earth and the sky started shaking violently, and a gigantic and terrifying lion appeared behind him. Energies rolled out in waves of power. Tantai looked like a brutal and bloodthirsty monster. Tantai has become really strong really quickly, thought Lin Feng. No wonder he was considered a really strong cultivator in his tribe. What an explosive power. How come I have the feeling that I've seen that guy somewhere? Whispered an elder, looking at Tantai. The person next to him frowned, his eyes were twinkling. He looks like Ling Tian. Absolutely, he looks like Ling Tian, but his attacks aren't quite as powerful. Ling Tian used to use dragon elephant strength, his attacks were even more explosive. His punches could destroy heaven and earth, said the other elder. He remembered Ling Tian nostalgically. Surprisingly, he had fallen. Back then, at Champion University, Ji Chang wasn't nearly as famous as Ling Tian. The elders were wondering when they'd see a new Ling Tian at Champion University. Back then, all the students felt dispirited and weak next to Ling Tian. He was a real genius. Suddenly, next to Lin Feng, whistling sounds spread in the air. Energies rolled in waves. A terrifying sun illuminated the air. Then, the crowd saw a sun-supernatural bird, a three-legged golden crow. Wu is so obstinate and unruly. He wants to compete against all those geniuses, thought Lin Feng, grinning as he watched Golden Crow. Behind Wu, Swan rose up into the air too. He turned into a legendary beast and roared loud enough to make the air shake. All the young people rose up into the air one after the other. They all wanted to show how strong they were. Ancestor Zhu Tian looked delighted and kept nodding, but he didn't say anything. It's going to be difficult to impress the ancestor, thought Lin Feng. Ancestor Zhu Tian was a mighty cultivator who had seen so many incredible geniuses in his life. Even though all these people were geniuses, not many could impress the ancestor. Master Ancestor, proclaimed Ji Wuyo, rising up into the air. He bowed before Ancestor Zhu Tian and said, I'd like to recommend someone. She's a direct descendant of the Yuan clan. She knows 4 types of cosmic energies and knows the 4-season sword technique. Soon, she'll know how to use form and determination attacks. I hope you can teach her some things. Then Ji Wuyo looked at Yu Wenjing. Yu Wenjing slowly rose up into the air as she released energies. They seethed as if they could explode anytime. She wanted to impress Ancestor Zhu Tian. You're quite talented. You and Wuyo can come to the Celestial Mountain when you have time. I can teach you a few things. Ji Wuyo knows where I live, said Ancestor Zhu Tian, nodding at Yu Wenjing. Yu Wenjing was quite talented. Of course, she didn't impress the old man, Ji Wuyo impressed him. He was very strong and talented, and his brother was Ji Chang. He was Ji Chang's younger brother, so the old man wanted to give Ji Chang face. Thank you very much, master, said Yu Wenjing. She was delighted as she bowed before the old man. Being able to go to the old man's Celestial Mountain was an honor, a dream even. Even the students of the Celestial Champion ranking list didn't necessarily have the opportunity. Thank you very much, master. We'll come and visit you. You're like a father to us, Ji Wuyo answered. Then Yu Wenjing and Ji Wuyo moved straight behind the ancestor. They seemed polite, but once they were behind him, they looked at the crowd disdainfully. Having an older brother is always useful, thought many people jealously. Everybody knew about Ji Chang. Many of the ancient elders wanted to have him as a student. Ji Wuyo's brother was Ji Chang, and on top of that, he was also talented and very strong. Because he was in a relationship with Yu Wenjing, she could also benefit from that. However, there were some people who were much stronger than her, but who were not invited to go to Ancestor Zhu Tian's house. Of course, the crowd realized all this. Yun Qingyan groaned coldly, disgusted at the sight. How come she was invited to go to Ancestor Zhu Tian's house? Lin Feng, come on, go and show your strength, said Yun Qingyan, rolling her eyes. Why was that guy so discreet now? Lin Feng hesitated. Ancestor Zhu Tian and Ji Chang seemed to have cordial relations, and Lin Feng had many secrets. He didn't know Ancestor Zhu Tian. Therefore, he didn't know if he could possibly get close to the elder, and didn't know what to do. Masters, I also want to introduce someone, said Yun Qingyan's father, smiling at the 3 old men, ancestors. The one I just told you about, the one who challenged Ji Wuyo. He's extremely talented. He has a special body and controls several sorts of cosmic energies. Yun Qingyan's father then looked at Lin Feng and nodded. Lin Feng rose up into the air. Lin Feng, show your cosmic energies, said Mr. Yun. Lin Feng released 10 of his cosmic energies. The crowd was astonished. He had a body which allowed him to understand 10 different sorts of energies? Having a body which allowed him to understand 10 different sorts of cosmic energies was one thing, but actually being able to control 10 different sorts of energies was another. Surprisingly, a Zun cultivator could control 10 sorts of cosmic energies. That was very strange. Chapter 1776. Calm and serene ancestor Zhu Tian looked at Lin Feng. He had a body which allowed him to understand 10 different sorts of abstruse energies and did control them. So why did have the strength of the Zun Qi layer? Ancestor Zhu Tian had never seen such a thing. What's wrong with your cultivation? Asked Ancestor Zhu Tian to Lin Feng. Master, when the cosmic energies of the sky and the earth were about to cleanse my body, suddenly they stopped, and some people said I was an imperial culpa. I was furious because I wanted to break through to the Huang Qi layer, and in the end I managed to use 7 sorts of cosmic energies. After that, I also made 3 other abstruse energies turn into cosmic energies and learned how to use 10 sorts of cosmic energies. However, as before, I can't break through to the Huang Qi layer, said Lin Feng to Ancestor Zhu Tian calmly. He didn't dare say he had a restriction body. Imperial culpa, abandoned by the gods. Ancestor Zhu Tian was surprised. He could sense Lin Feng's cultivation level. He was really a Zun cultivator, but he controlled 10 sorts of cosmic energies. Such people exist? Thought the crowd. Ancestor, if he managed to break free from that malediction, his future would be incredible, said Mr. Yun, glancing at Lin Feng. What Lin Feng had said to Ancestor Zhu Tian was different from what he had told Mr. Yun the previous time. Even though he didn't know why, he still hoped that Ancestor Zhu Tian would become Lin Feng's teacher. That way, Lin Feng would become extremely strong. He has been abandoned by the gods. There's nothing you can teach him. He's just a weirdo, interrupted Ji Wuyo coldly. He looked at Ancestor Zhu Tian and said, Ancestor, Yuan Jing only knows 4 types of cosmic energies, but she has potential. She's very talented. She's more talented than a weirdo who's been abandoned by the gods. Ancestor Zhu Tian was serene. He nodded and said, you should practice cultivation harder. When you break through to the Huang Qi layer, I'll help you maybe. When the crowd heard that, they were astonished. The old man didn't intend to help Lin Feng. In normal circumstances, the old man would have been overjoyed. He would have done his best to help Lin Feng. But because Ji Wuyo was there, he didn't want to be nice to Lin Feng. After all, Ji Wuyo was really talented. Lin Feng was just an imperial culpa. The decision was easy. Ancestor, said Mr. Yun at that moment, Lin Feng is an imperial culpa and understands 10 sorts of cosmic energies. If he breaks through to the Huang Qi layer, with his talent, he'll become terrifyingly strong. That's enough, said Ancestor Zhu Tian. He understood. I get your point. That's why I said Lin Feng should practice cultivation really hard and break free from that malediction. Thank you very much, Ancestor, Lin Feng replied, and bowed politely before descending from the sky. Mr. Yun was startled and glanced at Lin Feng. At that moment, Lin Feng nodded at him, so Mr. Yun stopped talking. Lin Feng wasn't offended. The crowd looked pensive, especially those who knew about Lin Feng's past. They hadn't thought that Lin Feng was such in a difficult situation. Ji Wuyo and Lin Feng were enemies, and if Ancestor Zhu Tian supported Lin Feng and Ji Wuyo, the situation looked bad for Lin Feng. Many people haven't displayed their strength yet. Why hide? If you're not determined, how can you progress in the world of cultivation? Said Ancestor Zhu Tian. Many people rose up into the air and showed how strong they were. Lin Feng looked at the geniuses, his heart as calm as a winter lake. The path of cultivation wasn't easy, even for those who had a special body. Life wasn't easy in general. Lin Feng. At that moment, Ho Qing Lin came over to Lin Feng. Brother, said Lin Feng raising his head and smiling, brother, why are you not going? Your reincarnation strength is incredible. You'll amaze everybody. Ho Qing Lin shook his head and said, Lin Feng, what other people think is not important. We just need to be determined. I understand. Lin Feng nodded. He actually didn't care about what other people thought, including ancestor Zhu Tian. If he preferred Ji Wuyo, that was his choice. It had nothing to do with Lin Feng. As long as they were determined, everything was fine. The ceremony was going well, but Lin Feng didn't care anymore. He was absent-minded and didn't pay attention to the ceremony anymore. Lin Feng. At that moment, Ho Qing Lin saw that Lin Feng was just standing there as if the outside world had nothing to do with him. Lin Feng raised his head. Ho Qing Lin was staring at him. The ceremony is over, said Ho Qing Lin with a smile. Lin Feng glanced around and realized all the old men were gone, as well as Ji Wuyo and Yuan Jing. They had seen how strong the students were. That was enough. Let's go back, said Lin Feng, and the friends left. However, at that moment, Lin Feng sensed some energies. He frowned and gazed into the distance. He noticed Yuan Ho and the others. Next to Yuan Ho, there was a strong cultivator. His facial expression were ice-cold, emotionless. Medium-level emperor? Lin Feng was surprised. That guy was extremely strong. He was stronger than Yuan Ho. Lin Feng guessed his identity, Shang Jun, Shang Yu's older brother. Yuan Ho, you told me he was dead already? Said Shang Jun, staring unhappily at Lin Feng. Yuan Ho frowned, but didn't reply. Shang Jun looked at Lin Feng and said, Shang Yu was weak and immature, but his murderer must die too. Then he rolled up his sleeves and walked forwards. Yuan Ho was fixedly staring at Lin Feng and groaned aloud. He turned around and left too. Lin Feng shouted out, looking at Yuan Ho's back, Don't forget what I said. We Tiantai challenged the star group, everyone. Yuan Ho shivered with rage, but he continued walking, his expression furious. Chapter 1777, Ancient Holy Clan's Grave. In the remote celestial mountains of Champion University, cosmic energies rose to the skies. There was an ancient path there, and on the path, there were statues. Those statues were emperors and they contained intent. Ji Wuyo was walking along the path. Each time he made a step, a terrifying will surrounded him and turned into a silhouette containing a terrifying strength attacking him. Boom! Explosions sounded and Ji Wuyo was thrown back, outside of the path. He looked furious. I can only make a few steps. Half a year and I can only make a few steps, thought Ji Wuyo, releasing waves of powerful qi. A cyan dragon totem appeared and roared violently. However, the statues instantly prevented him from moving. Behind him, Yuan Jing spoke up gently, Well, 10 steps is quite good already. I can only make 5. The ancestor says that your older brother could do only 20 when he was a low-level emperor. If you continue, you'll soon be able to make 15 steps. No, I need to be much stronger than my brother, otherwise, everybody will make fun of me, replied Ji Wuyo, shaking his head. He turned around and looked at Yuan Jing tenderly. He caressed her cheeks and smiled, Your boyfriend must become the strongest cultivator in the world. I must become even stronger than my brother Ji Chang. I have faith in you. I need to continue practicing my 4-season skills. Yuan Jing smiled. During these 6 months, ancestor Zhu Tian had been taking care of them. They were practicing cultivation in perfect conditions with ancestor Zhu Tian. They had progressed a lot during those 6 months. Ji Wuyo was only 1 step away from becoming a medium-level emperor. After becoming a medium-level emperor, he intended to try and get onto the higher ranking list. Of course, Yuan Jing understood that ancestor Zhu Tian had agreed to become their teacher because they were talented, of course, but mainly because of Ji Chang. Ji Wuyo also understood that. Therefore, Ji Wuyo wanted to become stronger than Ji Chang to prove that people thought highly of him for who he was. However, in Champion University, every genius was in the same situation. Everybody only thought of Ji Chang. Each time someone was becoming extremely strong, they wanted to become as strong as Ji Chang. However, it didn't work each time. They ended up being weaker than him and they felt oppressed. Even Ji Chang felt the same. He was extremely strong, but he was also under pressure because of Ing Cheng. During those 6 months, Tiantai had become much more lively. Yun Qingyan had been working really hard for Tiantai. She was very enthusiastic and loved Tiantai. At the same time, Ho Qinglin had been traveling a lot to become stronger. He always took people with him. People admired him. He was determined and persistent. The process was the same. He went to the Edict Palace, learned about current affairs, and went to those places where there were things to do. He took risks to become stronger, and they always shared treasures equally. Nobody was privileged in Tiantai. Tiantai was becoming more and more famous among the low-level emperors. Even some medium-level emperors thought highly of Tiantai. The star group was becoming less and less popular. Nobody liked them as they kept bullying people. If Ji Wuyo hadn't been there, the situation would have been even sadder for Ji Chang's club. At that moment, Lin Feng was in a courtyard where Tiantai had their headquarters. Everybody was looking at Ho Qinglin in a strange way. Ho Qinglin, you're so cruel. In 6 months, we've only rested 2 days. Now, we've rested for a day and you want us to travel again. It's dangerous, protested Yun Qingyan. Ho Qinglin was a bit over the top. That's how cultivation works. If you stop practicing cultivation for a while, it's a step backward, said Ho Qinglin. He was firm. The Edict Palace was a perfect place to learn about dangerous places. They always had new things to discover thanks to it. You're cruel, but Lin Feng is totally strange. He hasn't come out for 6 months. He didn't even come with us once, complained Yun Qingyan. She was speechless. Since the ceremony, Lin Feng hadn't come out even once. He understood something then. When he comes out, he'll be extremely strong, Ho Qinglin said under his breath. Lin Feng was a hardcore cultivator. He never wasted time. He knew what he needed. He didn't hide for 6 months wasting time. He was practicing cultivation. I hope so. Yun Qingyan's eyes glinted. She remembered that ancestor Zhu Tian had refused to help him because he wanted to help Ji Wuyo, so she hoped that Lin Feng wasn't depressed. At that moment, a strong and scorching hot wind started blowing. Wu suddenly appeared in the courtyard. Wu, why do you always do that? Asked Yun Qingyan unhappily. We need to change the plan, Wu stated sharply. Ho Qinglin frowned. Even though Wu was unruly, he never talked nonsense. If he said that, he had a reason. Why? Asked Ho Qinglin. There is some news in the Edict Palace. In the vast celestial ancient city, the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave appeared, Wu relayed to them. Back then, in the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, only a palace had appeared. It was as if it had been placed there on purpose. However, nobody knew where the small world of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was. Back then, everybody had thought that it would appear someday. Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Everybody's eyes twinkled. All the holy clans of the vast celestial ancient city were interested in the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, especially since the palace had appeared. Many people had gone there. And now, more things had been discovered. What does everybody think? Asked Ho Qinglin of the others. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave had appeared. It was an important event. Many strong cultivators were going to go there, including great emperors, so he was hesitant. If too many great emperors appeared there, the situation would get complicated. Let's go to the vast celestial ancient city, to the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. A voice spoke up at that moment. Lin Feng came out, wearing a clean white robe. Finally, this guy is out, thought Yun Qingyan when she saw him. He had been practicing for 6 months, but many things had happened in Tiantai during that time. For example, the star group provoked them less than before because Ho Qinglin and the others were extremely strong. Otherwise, the situation would have been complicated for Tiantai. Lin Feng, you think we should go to the vast celestial ancient city? Ho Qinglin asked Lin Feng. Indeed. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan probably planned everything before being destroyed. They left some buildings and now a grave has appeared. It must have something to do with their legacy. It won't be easy there though, even for great emperors, said Lin Feng. Yen Di was the prince of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, and back then the Everlasting Celestial Emperor and the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan were close. Now, some vestiges had appeared in the vast celestial ancient city, so they had to go and see. I agree too. I want to go to the vast celestial ancient city too, said Tunchi. Let's go. Everybody eventually agreed to go. When are we leaving? Asked Yunqing Yen. No. Even though we got the news from the Edict Palace, I'm sure many other people already know about it as well. Besides, the 3 other universities probably know about it, and they'll be leaving for the vast celestial ancient city as well. We have no time to lose, said Lin Feng. Let's go, said Ho Qing Lin, rising up into the air. As Lin Feng had expected, some people from Ji Chang's club Star Group and the U Club were also together in the sky. A strong cultivator said, some vestiges of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan appeared in the vast celestial ancient city. Last time, we missed that opportunity. This time, we must be there before everyone else. We could obtain some great things there. That's why I called the Star Group and the U Club. Those who are willing to go, come with me. Yuan Ho, you take care of the Star Group's people, said that person to Yuan Ho. Yuan Ho's eyes glittered and he said, what about Ji Wuyo and Yuan Jing? They're still in the Celestial Mountain practicing cultivation with Ancestor Zhu Tian. Should I inform them? Since they're with the Ancestor, no need. He's helping them, they'll progress much faster than us, said that cultivator. However, at that moment, 2 silhouettes appeared in the distance, Yuan Jing and Ji Wuyo. An ancient clan site? How could I miss that? Asked Ji Wuyo. Everybody nodded agreement. At the same time, the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, the Ancient University, and the 4 Seasons University students also left for the vast celestial ancient city. It was going to be fun there. Chapter 1778, University Gathering. When the young geniuses of the vast celestial ancient city had gone to the Holy City, the vast celestial ancient city was left rather quiet. But now, more and more people were coming back because of the historical remains of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. People from the entire region of the Dark Night wanted to go and see it. However, it wasn't easy to get there. It wasn't where the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was located before. It was quite far away in a desolate place. Nobody had thought the place would be that far away. The palace which had appeared in the past had just been a way to trick people. Many people remembered the Taoist monk though who had stolen a statue which probably contained precious treasures. Some people even said that they had seen him at the grave, but nobody had been able to check whether it was true or not. In any case, few people could go into the grave. It was because outside of the grave, there were terrifying deployment spells. Many deployment spellcasters were going there now. They wanted to see if they could get in. The gigantic tomb had appeared in a wild and unpopulated area. It was massive in size. However, people stayed far away because of the deployment spells. In the distance, on a mountain range, there were many people watching. Even though they looked indifferent on the inside, they couldn't keep calm. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave might contain incredible treasures. If someone managed to get in, they'd obtain them. Unfortunately, the entrance was completely blocked. Nobody could get in. At the top of another mountain, there were 2 people, a beautiful woman, and a demonic-looking man in black clothes. Those 2 people were Empress Shi and the Netherworld Demon Emperor. I wouldn't have thought that the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan had time to hide things in this grave back then. You said you saw Yen Di and Shuiyu back then? Empress Shi asked the Netherworld Demon Emperor. The Demon Emperor nodded. He had seen Lin Feng and Yen Di. It means that Yen Di didn't really die then. He came back to life. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave probably contains treasures for him. I think that the one who showed up in the Moon Palace last time was Yen Di. Empress, she said calmly. The Netherworld Demon Emperor looked emotionless. He just evenly replied, indeed. Maybe that it was Yen Di. Considering his strength back then, now that he came back to life, he's probably going to become extremely strong again. So what? We have so many strong cultivators under our control. Yen Di can't do anything, said Empress Shi, her eyes twinkling. The Netherworld Demon Emperor and Empress Shi had died once as well. They were very determined and persistent. Cultivation was the only thing that mattered to them, They had to become peerless cultivators. Let's go back. The deployment spells are too difficult to break, said Empress Shi before turning to leave. The Netherworld Demon Emperor followed her and both disappeared into the horizon. Outside of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan grave, the wilds were vast. Apart from the deployment spells, some people also found some treasures. Back then, when the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan had created that place, they had broken the ground and inside were many outer palaces in which there were treasures. In the distance, some people appeared, a group of young adults. They were wearing uniforms and looked both strong and determined. How strong? Those young people are only emperors, but they seem so strong. I wonder where they're from? Thought the crowd. People from Tianyuan. I saw that uniform a long time ago. That's the uniform of the Yunshao University in Tianyuan, said someone. They were surprised. Surprisingly, people from Yunshao University were there. They came from one of the 3 main cities of the region. Many people looked at them. Universities, in the continent of the 9 clouds, were holy places. The 3 main cities of the region had universities, and many extremely strong cultivators. Often, their students became terrifying cultivators who amazed whole cities, regions, and sometimes the whole world. Everybody respected them. Yunshao University students were enthusiastic. People got excited as well when seeing them, as if it were contagious. I wouldn't have thought that they'd come, at least not so fast. They come from so far away. But I've heard that their news system is quite good. It seems that it's true. Thought the crowd. More people are coming. Thought the crowd, gazing into the distance. There was a group of young men again, also looking incredible. They didn't wear uniforms though, so they didn't look as strict. People from Yunshao are so fast, said someone in the crowd. People from Yunshao University were in the crowd too. They looked at the people who were coming. Goblin Spirit University. Goblin Spirit University, they're fast too, said someone from Yunshao University. People looked at one another with flames in their eyes. In total, in the 3 main cities, there were 10 universities. When students from different universities met, they were in competition. They all wanted to prove their university was the best. Goblin Spirit University. The crowd was shocked. According to legends, the strong cultivators of Goblin Spirit University all had a bestial soul. The university was very special. They only accepted people with an animal soul. Their students were incredibly strong. The crowd hadn't thought that so many people would come because of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave. People from all universities were arriving. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was quite famous. Everybody knew about the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Unfortunately, they had been destroyed a long time ago, and now some people were going to steal their treasures. There were more and more people. The air was becoming more and more lively. An ocean of people was gradually appearing. At that moment, a few hundreds of kilometers away, there was a group of people on a boat. They were flying at great speed above the clouds. As they approached, the clouds disappeared and they saw the grave. They were all amazed, wondering what was inside. Lin Feng, your boat was so fast, maybe that we're the first ones from the holy city. Tan Tai exclaimed happily. Lin Feng's boat was very fast and extremely useful. Let's go and see, said Lin Feng with a smile. The boat descended from the sky. Many people noticed them arriving. Another group of extraordinary-looking young people easily guessed that these people were also from a university. That's Lin Feng, said someone at that moment. In the vast celestial ancient city, many people knew Lin Feng. Surprisingly, Lin Feng was there again. The young man who had been abandoned by the gods by the Ice Moon Lake was back. Many people from the vast celestial ancient city recognized Lin Feng, as he had done many things there. At that moment, the crowd looked at Lin Feng strangely. Was Lin Feng a university student? I wonder which university they belonged to. Surprisingly, Lin Feng is also a student now, and he's back in the vast celestial ancient city. Not only Lin Feng, Qing Feng, Wu, Swan, they're all here. Those are strong cultivators from the vast celestial ancient city, the people murmured when they saw Wu, Qing Feng and the others. What university are you from? Everybody was staring at Lin Feng and the others. They looked like heroes. You're not from the holy city. Which university? Asked Qin Wu of some students who were there already. You're impolite, I asked you first. Why not reply? The other retorted. University students were competitors above all. Tan Tai frowned and said coldly, We're just asking, what's the problem with that? You just want to fight, don't you? Humph. That person smiled in a cold way and said, So what's? You, Tan Tai was furious already. Qin Wu intervened. From your clothes, you must be from Yunshao University. You're smart, said that person sarcastically. We didn't come to fight verbally, Ho Qinglin said, barely glancing at those people. Then he looked at the grave. He didn't care about these people. Chapter 1779, Meeting Iren again, Palace, Ancient Golden Road, Deployment Spell. Lin Feng glanced around. The grave looked like a palace. It was gigantic and magnificent. The deployment spells around it were frightening. People couldn't break it relying on brute strength. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was very famous back then because they were incredibly strong. It wasn't an undeserved reputation. Back then, the leader of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was terrifying. He was as strong as many other great emperors. The clan was quite famous, notably for their deployment spells, which could destroy heaven and earth. Since the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave had appeared here, it meant that they wanted people to find it, but it probably wasn't easy to get in. They had prepared, but the only way to get into the palace seemed to be via the ancient golden road they had in front of them. The ancient golden road led to the palace, and was divided into several small roads. They all had marks on them of deployment spells. At that moment, many deployment spellcasters were there and studying the deployment spells. They wanted to understand how they worked so they could get inside. There are 9 paths, each of them has a deployment spell, and the deployment spells are all different, thought Lin Feng. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's deployment spells were incredibly powerful. The everlasting Celestial Emperor was famous for his deployment spells in Xixiang City, but maybe that he had learned them from the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Yen Di was the prince of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. No wonder he had chased the everlasting Celestial Emperor back then. If you walk on those paths, the deployment spells get more and more dangerous as you go forwards. There are thousands of deadly deployment spells. Getting inside will be extremely difficult, said a deployment spellcaster at that moment. The crowd was shocked. Thousands of deployment spells on those paths? How deadly! At the end of each path, there's an entrance, but is there the same thing behind each entrance? Asked Tianqi at that moment. Possibly not, said Ho Qinglin, staring at the paths. They were different, so they probably led to different places. I don't know which deployment spell we can break, so first let's wait and observe, said Lin Feng. Then, the group of friends moved away and stopped in the distance. The 9 paths contained mighty deployment spells. Getting in wouldn't be easy, and they didn't even know which path was the right one. Lin Feng and the others weren't the only ones who did that. Many other strong cultivators decided to stay far away and observe first. It could be dangerous. Time passed. More and more strong cultivators showed up. People from the 4 universities of the Holy City were there already, including more people from Champion University. Such beautiful women! Tan Tai exclaimed. Come with me, Lin Feng said, and started forward, jumping onto the path which had been opened by the celestial women of the Moon Palace. Suddenly, dazzling lights invaded the air and the deadly deployment spells dispersed again. Lin Feng had taken 9 steps. The deployment spells were changing. Lin Feng noticed that people couldn't necessarily walk on the same paths as before. Chapter 1780, Entering the Ancient Palace. What a strange golden path, thought Lin Feng, slowly walking forwards. He could sense the strength of the deployment spells. There were millions and millions of marks on the paths. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's deployment spells were indeed awesome. At that moment, many people suddenly ran towards Lin Feng and watched him closely. Each time Lin Feng made a step, the marks changed. They had to break the deployment spells to move forward, step by step. This student from Champion University knows about deployment spells, thought the students of Yunshao University, staring at Lin Feng. Since Lin Feng's friends were following him, it meant that other people could follow him. Yu Wenho, Ji Wuyo, and the others were also fixedly staring at Lin Feng. Surprisingly, that guy could walk on the golden path. Come with me. Silhouettes flickered. The students of Yunshao University landed behind Lin Feng and the others. The golden paths were mysterious. After breaking the deployment spells, they could reappear, so they wanted to benefit from Lin Feng's knowledge. If he could break the deployment spells, why not follow him? Yunshao University's students weren't the only ones to think that way. Yu Wenho and the others followed him too. Lin Feng could break deployment spells, so they didn't need to worry about anything with him in the lead. While Lin Feng was breaking the deployment spells, he frowned. He turned around and looked at the crowd. If he broke the deployment spells, not only would these people force the entry into the palace, but they would also attack him by surprise and steal some treasures from him. When they saw that Lin Feng had stopped, they looked at him coldly. Lin Feng said, "Leave the path or I won't continue." The crowd frowned and looked angry. "Little bastard, you're breaking the deployment spell and we're not disturbing you. What's the problem?" said someone from Yunshao University coldly. "Do you want to die now?" Ji Wuyo demanded coldly. His eyes were filled with murder. "Piss off," said Lin Feng coldly. Ji Wuyo grimaced. Dazzling dragon lights appeared around him and he released a powerful qi. "How arrogant!" shouted the strong cultivator from Yunshao University. He jumped forwards and immediately attacked in the direction of Lin Feng's friends. He wanted to teach them a good lesson. Lin Feng suddenly jumped up, and lights appeared. The golden path abruptly became dazzlingly bright, and a terrifying strength emerged. Boom boom. That strong cultivator's attack immediately disappeared. The golden path was still shining as golden blades descended from the sky. The student from Yunshao University was stupefied. How could Lin Feng use the deployment spells of the path that easily? He retreated at full speed. Lin Feng laughed furiously. In a flash, the golden lights turned into a cage and imprisoned the cultivator. People's facial expressions changed drastically. "Cut!" Lin Feng shouted furiously. The golden lights became blinding and turned into deadly energies which invaded the cage. The crowd retreated quickly as the air started exploding. The strong cultivator who was inside the cage turned into a bloody cloud, and the cosmic energies dispersed. The crowd was astonished. That guy was at the top of the low Huangqi layer, and the deployment spell had crushed him. That golden road is strange, thought the crowd, staring at it. As it moved further along, the deployment spells were getting more and more dangerous, yet Lin Feng moved on it freely. It seemed easy for him to use them or destroy them. They were only at the beginning of the path, but the energies were already terrifying. "Piss off!" Lin Feng shouted at Ji Wuyo and the others coldly. "Arrogant little boy." The crowd looked at him with murder in their eyes, especially Ji Wuyo. Lin Feng glanced back at him disdainfully. A dragon suddenly started chanting. Ji Wuyo waved his hand and a cyan-scaled dragon appeared as a light beam moved towards Lin Feng and the others. That gigantic dragon could injure or even kill Lin Feng and his friends. Lin Feng jumped up, and on the golden path, a gigantic and terrifying web appeared, and surrounded the gigantic cyan dragon. Dazzling lights appeared, and the cyan dragon exploded. Blood splashed everywhere. The Ji Clan's cyan dragon totem is incredible. It is made of flesh like a real dragon, thought the crowd with a sigh. However, the deployment spells of the path were even more terrifying. The dragon had been crushed in the blink of an eye. The golden lights dashed to the skies. Ji Wuyo and the others rose up into the air and retreated. At the same time, Ji Wuyo bombarded the air with another dragon attack. The air was shaking. The dazzling lights of the golden path were a bit oppressed. Lin Feng kept jumping. The lights of the path twinkled. They now seemed indestructible. The strong cultivators in the air were startled and immediately jumped away from the path. They were now all staring at Lin Feng coldly. Lin Feng glanced at them, and then he turned around and continued breaking the deployment spells on the golden path and walking forwards. The deployment spells of the golden path are getting more and more powerful. Lin Feng can use that deployment strength, so as he moves forwards, his attacks become more powerful. We can't get close to him, thought Yuan Ho and the others. They were standing outside of the golden path and glaring at Lin Feng. If Lin Feng could break the deployment spells all the way to the end, they would only have a short time to run to the gate. Lin Feng kept moving forwards. Many people were watching Lin Feng, especially those incredibly strong deployment spellcasters. They were all surprised. At the beginning, the women of the Moon Palace had started breaking the deployment spells. The deployment spells of the paths had then changed, but they had realized that only after stepping onto the paths. Now, what they needed to do was observe what Lin Feng was doing, and then do the same. Surprisingly, he can destroy the deployment spells, thought the crowd. Lin Feng was already quite far along the golden path. If he continued, he would soon reach the end and would be able to get into the palace. Let's get ready. Yuan Ho and the others were staring at Lin Feng and condensing their qi, getting ready to follow him. After a short time, Lin Feng finally arrived at the end of the path. A vast qi rolled in the air. Lin Feng smiled coldly and jumped forwards. The golden path lit up again. Terrifying energies rose to the skies as the crowd frowned. Let's go! The strong cultivators charged towards Lin Feng, but then some terrifying and deadly energies surrounded the path, and more rumbling sounds rose up. The door opened itself. Lin Feng and the others got inside. Stay open! A gigantic hand reached for the door. Some people who were in front of the door were struck by the attack. Piss off! The person who wanted to go in saw someone attack them again. They couldn't miss that opportunity, and the competition was scary. The air wobbled and shifted, and the golden lights on the path changed again. Oh no! Shouted someone furiously. The crowd retreated at full speed. However, some people didn't have time to escape. The lights reached them and they died messily. Bastard! The crowd was furious. Lin Feng and his friends had disappeared inside the palace, but the door closed itself again. They were all stuck outside. The golden paths keep changing. We need to find the same path as they did, said a deployment spellcaster. They needed to do the same as the celestial women of the Moon Palace and Lin Feng. Lin Feng had understood what to do. That's why he and his friends were the second batch of people who had managed to get inside. Indeed. We need to do the same as them, and we'll have a chance to find the entrance, said an old man. He had been staring at Lin Feng the whole time, so he released his godly awareness. So this the will of 18 great emperors, and they attack us for real as soon as we get on the bridge, clarified Qin Wu for everyone. Yun Qin Yen nodded and said, Indeed, but that's just a test. If we pass it, we can cross the bridge. Let's try and destroy them. Tan Tai yelled enthusiastically. Lions appeared and roared. They immediately attacked the 18 statues with explosive power. The lions attacked the statues. They didn't move at all. The attack was useless. In the palace, people's cultivation levels are restrained. A person's strength can't exceed the low Huang Qi layer. Even if great emperors come inside, their strength will be restrained also. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan has prepared for this. Direct attacks won't work. We need to walk across. Willpower attacks. Chu Chunqiu has studied the sky-absorbing holy scriptures. He can absorb people's willpower. He has a terrifying strength of will. He can kill people with pure will. It's as if he had the same power of great emperors, but at a much lower level. Muttered Lin Feng. Maybe that it had something to do with his cultivation speed. I'll go and try first. If that's a test, maybe the 9 paths lead to different places with different tests. Many people are probably going to die during those exams, he said. He walked up to the bridge once again. This time, he was ready. He released wind cosmic energy and moved in a blur of motion. A powerful energy once again charged towards Lin Feng. The 18 statues' wills were as fast as lightning. Lin Feng put his hands together, and a purple tank as big as an ocean moved straight towards the attack of will. However, the attack consisted of millions of threads, different attacks. And like a sharp sword cut apart everything, including the purple tank. At the same time, an iceberg appeared and froze the earth and the sky, and then a terrifying ancient cauldron appeared, containing an explosive power as it hurtled at Lin Feng. The air rumbled, and Lin Feng retreated quickly, and went back to where he was standing originally. He looked furious. Everybody be very careful. Those threads of will are organized in such a way that their power has maximum intensity. Don't rush. Lin Feng called out after having inspected the energies. His eyes went pitch black. This time, Lin Feng didn't move quickly. He released several sorts of cosmic energies. In reply, a terrifying energy seemed like it was going to swallow his eyes and crush his mind. Lin Feng's eyes contained the source of the 9 netherworlds. They could corrode the 10,000 things of creation. He continued moving forwards. A gigantic hand moved towards Lin Feng and blotted out the sky. There was nowhere to escape. Lin Feng jumped, and under his feet, lights twinkled. At the same time, his purple tank moved again, containing enough strength to destroy the hand. Lin Feng continued moving forward steadily, step by step. Sword lights twinkled. There were energies all around Lin Feng. He couldn't escape. He did a knife hand strike, and his own sword energies whistled and rose to the skies, cutting apart the sword energies in front of him. The lights under his feet continued moving as a dazzling deployment spell appeared. The people behind him frowned. Surprisingly, Lin Feng was in the middle of the attack of will and didn't continue moving. They couldn't see the determination attacks clearly. They only saw them when Lin Feng's attacks collided with them, but they knew that the Great Emperor's attacks only had the strength of the low Huang Qi layer. Of course, it was only the first bridge. Only a few people would fail here. At that moment, bright golden lights shone under Lin Feng's feet, his silhouette turned into an illusion, and he suddenly disappeared. Instantly, he reappeared on the other side of the bridge. Empty space deployment spell. Qin Wu was astonished. Lin Feng could cast empty space deployment spells and teleport. Those determination attacks can't block empty space deployment spells, but they can still have an effect on your movements. Use your own powers to walk on the bridge. If it doesn't work, just walk to the center and then attract the strength of my marks and you can cross. Lin Feng called out. He didn't cast a deployment spell on the other side of the bridge, as he didn't want to waste any strength, even if the strength was suppressed. Chapter 1782. Insane battle after Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin and the others stepped on the bridge. Some people used strength, some people endured the Great Emperor's attacks, but they all used Lin Feng's empty space deployment spell. Lin Feng, without your empty space deployment spell, I couldn't have crossed the bridge, admitted Qin Wu. He was mortified. Those 18 Great Emperor's attacks were scary. Most low-level emperors couldn't stand such attacks, and thus couldn't cross the bridge. Even Qin Wu, who was very strong, found it difficult. But thanks to Lin Feng's deployment spell, Qin Wu, Huang Fulong, and the others could follow him. As long as you could all cross, that was the main thing. We'll face many dangers here. It's the same for the other paths. Besides, we came in after the Moon Palace's cultivators. The others will come in even later than us. Let's not waste time, let's continue on and see. The Tiantai members continued on. The path seemed endless. After some time, they finally arrived in front of a sculpture which obstructed the way. It blocked the end of that room. The sculpture contained a terrifying will and attacked Lin Feng after just a glance. It looked like a demon king, and the energies looked like demonic figures attacking him. Lin Feng suddenly jumped up. His purple tank rolled in the air and collided with the demonic attacks. The air was shattering even as the terrifying will continued attacking Lin Feng and piercing through his eyes. Lin Feng started feeling dizzy. His willpower was being affected. Lin Feng's mind started shaking. He tried to use his godly awareness to protect his consciousness. The demonic will kept bombarding his brain. Behind Lin Feng, the source of the 9 netherworlds appeared and flowed throughout his brain. The demonic will was attacking his strength. That willpower is terrifying. There are 2 sorts, one is shapeless and the other has a shape. Lin Feng's chi rolled in waves as he continued walking forwards. He said to the others, "Brothers, Wu, let's lead the way." The others, "Be careful, especially when your will is attacked. The attacks can destroy our willpower. We have to be very cautious." Ho Qing Lin, Tian Qi, and Wu closely followed Lin Feng. The others stayed behind. Lin Feng and the three others released qi in volleys, attacking the demonic king's will. What a powerful will! The others thought urgently. Lin Feng released a dazzling sword energy and cut apart the demonic attacks in front of him. Ho Qing Lin used his Azura reincarnation attack to attack the will, at the same time, protecting himself with his godly awareness. The will was terrifying. The others stayed behind. They had to remain vigilant. They felt oppressed. They didn't need to face the demonic will directly since they were being shielded, but they still felt very nervous. The attacks were frightening and ceaseless. That demonic king was really strong. Cut! Lin Feng shouted furiously. Sword lights illuminated the atmosphere and bombarded the demonic king's body. Gashes appeared. Tian Qi released a terrifying golden hand at the same time. The air rumbled, and the demonic king's statue finally exploded. A door appeared beyond it. "Let's go," shouted Lin Feng, running forwards, and the others followed. In front of them, another path appeared. It was a vast road, hundreds of meters in width. However, the path was obstructed. There was an infinite number of statues obstructing the way. "It's going to be tough," thought Lin Feng, shaking at the sight. How many emperors did the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan have back then? And how many great emperors? In order to leave such a terrifying will, they had to be incredibly strong. If Lin Feng had been alone, he wouldn't have been worried. After all, those threads of willpower were from dead people. It was just a test. The goal wasn't to prevent everyone from passing. If he were alone, he would have been able to pass the tests easily. The problem was all his Tiantai friends were there, and he had to go slowly and wait for them. "Wu, you and me, we stay in the front. You two, defend on the left. Swan and Tantai protect on the right. Qing Feng and Qing Yan, stay at the back. And the others, stay in the middle. We'll take care of those great emperor's wills," said Lin Feng. Everybody nodded agreement. That was a good formation to use. Powerful energy moved towards Lin Feng. Dazzling sword lights invaded the atmosphere. 9 stars appeared and attacked him. Lin Feng released a powerful sword, meaning it looked like a lofty mountain. Lin Feng was surrounded by sword lights which dashed to the skies and clashed against the attacking sword lights. The attacks were unceasing and overwhelming. A sun sword appeared. Lin Feng used a wind attack which contained 2 sorts of determination, meaning the sun and the wind energies fused together explosively. Thunder shook the air as a statue exploded. At the same time, Lin Feng took 2 steps forwards as Wu fought against a shadow. His physical body was incredible, blinding sun lights appeared, and his claws were almost indestructible. Lin Feng and Wu moved forwards with an indomitable will. The band continued walking forwards. The will attacks twisted the air. The scene looked like a great war. Lin Feng created some armor and released willpower culpa strength, as well as other techniques, endlessly attacking the strong cultivator's wills. It was a difficult test. Dazzling sword lights, sun energies, clouds, water, the attacks were coming from all sides endlessly. It was a big bang of cosmic energies. Wu was fierce and ferocious, moving swiftly. He looked like a hero. However, as they moved forwards, Lin Feng realized that the willpower attacks were surprisingly turning into deployment spells, or more precisely, they were fused together with deployment spells. Those attacks forced the group to separate. After a short time, they were separated from one another and had to fight alone. Someone groaned with pain. Lin Feng glanced around. Qin Wu had been struck by an attack and was propelled backwards and was bleeding. A cauldron had smashed into him, and now a silhouette was moving towards him at full speed. Lin Feng moved like the wind and landed in front of Qin Wu. He released Devamara Culpa strength, looking like a beast as the attack charged towards him. Die! Lin Feng jumped forwards. Terrifying sword energies whistled out and destroyed the attack. Are you all right? Lin Feng asked Qin Wu. I'm all right. In this damn place, even the strength of precious treasures is restrained. It's better to use your own strength, said Qin Wu, taking a deep breath in annoyance. Damn place, I wonder when we'll reach the end, said Huang Fulong. He was furious. Lin Feng moved like the wind and punched a shadow which was attacking Huang Fulong. Lin Feng said, "Enjoy the battles. You don't have opportunities to battle like this every day. Let's enjoy it. We can learn many things here." Lin Feng is right. It's a rare opportunity that we have here, said Ho Qing Lin. Those willpower attacks had the strength of low-level emperors. It was a great challenge for them. Hee hee. Tantai grinned. He shouted furiously and an infinity of lions appeared, bestial chi rising up. Tantai's attacks were explosive. Tantai was different from other people, he was quickly becoming stronger. And so they continued. Apart from Lin Feng and a few others, the others were struggling and unhappy. But Lin Feng was helping them and protecting them, which made things easier for them. In the worst cases, they had a few wounds. They were extremely motivated, however. 9 Cauldron Celestial Attack, die! Shouted Lin Feng furiously at that moment. In a flash, a terrifying cauldron appeared. Apart from heavy earth and wind energies, the marks of the cauldron also contained Devamara Kulpa strength. Thunder shook the air, and a statue immediately exploded. More Devamara Kulpa strength descended from the sky. The crowd frowned and looked at Lin Feng. Kulpa? The others were staring at Lin Feng. That guy was fighting. How come there was Kulpa strength? His skills are improving. Qing Feng knew that Lin Feng's skills required Devamara Kulpa strength. This guy was improving quickly. However, the Kulpa strength didn't condense. The golden marks suppressed everything there. Lin Feng's eyes gleamed. If he wanted to truly advance, he had to leave this place. Finally, Lin Feng and the others arrived on the other side. There were no statues anymore. Arg! Huang Fulong shouted furiously, dragon chants spreading in the air. He looked like he still wanted to battle. He was enjoying the fight, but his enemies had disappeared. Finally, once the group was done destroying all the statues, they arrived at another door. How awesome! Tantai even had blood on his face. Everybody burst into laughter when they looked at him. That battle was a long one. My muscles are sore. Lin Feng, I wonder where you find all that energy, and on top of that you still managed to help us. Without you, we wouldn't have made it. Qin Wu smiled gratefully at Lin Feng. That battle had been fun but difficult. They all had the feeling that they couldn't keep up with Lin Feng. They were already exhausted even though after having been cleansed by the cosmic energies of the earth and the sky, their energies were unlimited since they could borrow them from the planet. Everybody have a rest. We don't know what there is behind that door, said Lin Feng. Everybody nodded and had sat down to recover. Maybe that the battles ahead were going to be even worse beyond that door. An hour later, Lin Feng opened his eyes. Everybody else had probably recovered already too. He ordered, "All right, let's go." As Lin Feng walked up to the door, the air gradually changed around him. A vast palace appeared, thousands of meters wide. Is someone else there? At that moment, they noticed other people. They crossed the door and finally, the intersection of the paths had appeared. They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.